Friday with Cam Newton and Noah Lyles in 3, 2.
Yo, what's good? What's poppin'? What it is, what it ain't, what it could be, what it should be, what it would be. Cam Newton and son, Mr. Boogie Doll here with another episode of Funky Friday. And ladies and gentlemen, I promise, I really do promise to give good content for the masses, but most of all, I promise to keep it funky. Now today, I'm locked and loaded because I ain't been trying to talk, you know what I'm saying? Because I know it's going to be some gems. I know it's going to be some good insight. I know it's going to be some, you know what I'm saying, good perspective. And I'm intrigued because from one athlete to another, I want to delve into his world of how he prepares. This is the fastest man in the world, ladies and gentlemen. 2024 men's 100-meter Olympic champion. Six-time world championship gold medalist. 2023 USA Athlete of the Year. Musical artist as well. Nojo, 18 or No-Yo?
No,
18.
You had it.
Nojo. I present to some and introduce to others. My man, Noah Lyles.
What's poppin'?
You good?
Blessed and highly favored.
Brand new whip just hopped in.
Yes, sir.
I got options. Nah, I don't. I don't. Changed. But yeah, bro, I've been picking up a lot, you know, on camera and off camera. Please, I'm intrigued to understand. This is not champagne. This is not wine. Tell the people what's in your cup.
All right, this is half apple juice, half ginger ale. This is my go-to drink on any plane ride. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not really into a lot of sodas. So, you know, I grew up, you know, just drinking apple juice, you know, easy go-to. And, you know, you want to give it a little bit of kick, you just put some ginger ale in there. It always gets the flight attendants, they're like, oh, that's a new one. Or if I've heard, you know, if I've been on the same flight, I take a lot of the same flights. And, you know, sometimes the attendants will recognize me like, oh, yeah, I heard that this is what you like to drink a lot. So I was like, yeah, that's my go-to drink.
So when y'all see me next time, be like, I'm on that Noah Lyles. So give me that Noah. You dig what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
It's been so much. I think, I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to start here just understanding, you know, off camera we was talking about just training. And, you know, really for you, we're going to dive into it, you know, deep. But for me, I don't really like eating before I work out.
Yeah, that's wild.
Nah, I just, because I don't.
But then when do you start practicing?
We practice typically, or when I was playing, we would practice midday, but I wouldn't eat.
Okay.
I wouldn't eat like an hour and a half to 2 hours before. Nothing heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like candy ain't considered eating to me. That's just.
No, that's a snack.
You feel what I'm saying?
Barely a snack.
Yeah. But I don't be wanting to belch and just be thinking like my stomach ain't really. What do you do?
Nah, you're not wrong. I know a lot of people in the sports world that can't eat, and it's crazy. I train in the morning, so I train at 9 a.m. in the hot Florida sun. So a lot of people will be like, yeah, I just had like cereal. They'll be like, I just had oatmeal. Man, I'm gonna pull up to practice with a big old bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich 5 minutes before I actually start jogging on the track. Like, I got an iron stomach. What? I could fuel my body with anything and everything and be ready to go. But I have to eat because my body is so like, it's so lean. I'm like, compared to my brother, you know, he's got a lot more muscle mass than I do. You know, I think he's about 200 pounds at his heaviest, like 190 at his lowest. I'm 175 right now. This is the heaviest I've ever been in my life.
What?
Yeah. So my metabolism is just like cranking constantly. So I have to constantly give it fuel.
I got a partner like that, you know.
Yeah.
The heaviest he's probably been was like soaking wet 120. Yeah, my dog Peggy.
I ain't that bad.
Yeah. He
I ain't that bad now. Hold on.
He got an empty head, because you would think like he got a brain that's in there, but it still got the wrapper on it.
Hang on. You hanging out with friends with empty heads?
That's why I got to give back. You see what I'm saying? Like, I got to give knowledge and be like, nah, bro, don't do that. Like, why would you? But that's neither here nor there. That's my dog, my road dog on 4th and 1, so I always got to give him a hard time. Now, you're no stranger to, dare I say controversy, but being in the public eye.
Yeah, it's all about how you view it.
Does certain things go into your mind in a way where you're like, oh no, I gotta say this, or it's just boom?
That's a little bit of both. I got ADD. I've been.
You and me both.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. I can spot people with ADD quick.
What's the signs?
One of the signs is you can't stay on topic. Like the topic will change too quickly. There's some people who they'll be like, "Oh, we just want to stay on this topic for a while," but no, you'll have people who will be like, "All right, this is what I had for lunch," and then of course that reminded me of the story when I went to the mall, and then of course from there we went to the movies. Oh, did I talk about what we had for breakfast today? And then when I see that loop, I'm like, "Oh yeah, you probably got it."
You seen the loop with me? Dang.
It's just easy to spot.
Did we just become best friends?
Probably.
Yeah, you did. Hey, from one ADD to another ADD, dog. It's been a challenge. I think one of the interesting things that I did see in the media, being a football player, one of the fastest football players in Cheetah, Tyreek Hill. And you, like, did you ever play football?
No, I wasn't allowed to. Mom didn't want no concussions. She didn't want no broken bones. She didn't want none of that stuff. And it's crazy because I think my brother could have probably been like the greatest wide receiver ever. But yeah, no, I didn't touch football.
Did y'all ever race?
Like me and my brother?
No, you and Tyreek.
Yeah, no, we were supposed to.
What happened? Tell us about it. Hey, listen, we have a disclaimer here at Funky Friday where we say, I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help us God. I promise to keep it funky, whole funky, no matter what. So tell us your side of the story about what was it supposed to be and...
Yeah, so he's going off after the Olympics, talking about, I could beat Noah Lyles. And I knew that he'd do that because he does it every time somebody fast new comes around. And as a kid, I've watched him do this for years. I'm just like,
it's
man,
old now.
If I ever get the chance, if he ever puts my name in his mouth and running, we racing. Because I feel like so many people are so like against it in the track world because like, why would you demean yourself to that? Why would you like put yourself down to their level?
Yeah.
And in my head, it's like, this is just another opportunity. If we're over here trying to prove that we're the fastest people in the world, but we only race other track people, how are they gonna really know how fast we are? Like, yeah, you can hear that I run 27 miles per hour, but what does that look like? Like, yeah, you thinking about that. Let me give you another version of it. If I was to run at top speed through a school zone, I'd get a ticket. Hit that subscribe button.
Back to the show. That's hard.
That's crazy, right?
That's nuts.
But you can't really fathom that until you see it in person. And if we go for the Olympics, it's like, what's next? All right, give me your best guy. If Tyreek is your best guy, come on. I'll whoop your butt real quick. I'll show you it'd be over in the first 5 meters, probably first 3 steps. But everybody is like, no, this is the guy, because you've had so long to prove like what's so fast in the 40. All right, let me show you what the translation is. And then they're no longer thinking, all right, track speed and football speed. It's just like, oh no, this guy's just speed, period. A whole shutdown.
Have you ever ran a 40?
No.
What would you think if they said, you know what, Noah? We want you to run in the combine. What would your 40-yard
All right, I do have a good idea of what it could be. So Christian Coleman is the world record holder in the 60 meters. He did a 40, back in when he was still in college. He was still in Tennessee. Okay. This is before he ran his fastest time, but it was only by 1 or 2 years before that. He goes out and he drops a 4.1. I think it was a 4.15, 4.16, somewhere around there. There's a video of it on YouTube and everything. You can go look it up. He's definitely a better starter than me, but I'm still in the top 10 for best 60s ever. So I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere in between a 4.1 and a 4.2 flat.
Boy. Yeah, my mind can't even like, don't even blink.
Yeah. No, don't blink. I definitely tell people, don't blink or you're going to miss it.
What was the weirdest place that you've ever raced somebody?
I don't think any place was too weird. I've had some fun places. You know, there's, of course, Rome. There's
No.
places.
I'm talking about outside of the track.
Oh, outside of the track.
No, like,
I mean, school playgrounds, back at somebody's house, somebody just over here like, I've had one guy, a technician, come to my house, be like, oh, I've always wanted to know what it's like to race like somebody fast. It's like, would you race me? I'm like, I guess. We go out in the middle of my road. I'm like, all right, we're going to race from mailbox to mailbox. I take 2 steps. He's like, okay, yeah, maybe I should stop.
God. How long, all right, last thing on Tyreek. How long would you need to prepare to race him?
I'm ready now. He's the one who got to train. I'm always trained. I train 9 months out of the year. So I'm always in shape.
Where do those other 3 months go? What do you do?
I'm doing a lot of this. I'm doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Doing obligations for Adidas. For my other sponsors. Maybe Omega wants me to come do a photo shoot, or they want me to come talk to, their other sponsors. I'm going to Met Galas. So on and so forth. Going around the NFL games and saying, hey, yeah, I'm the world's fastest man. They cheer, they get up, they get excited, and tell them about the next project that's coming up.
That's love that, no?
It's a part of the game. It's all a part of the picture. I have fun with it. It's too boring to just think all track every day. Like, you got to take the celebration. You got to take the victory lap.
Absolutely. Dare I say farewell tour, because you have so much, left. But I really want to get into, the whole genesis of the discussion. You spoke about, parents and just that support, right? With Mother's Day that just passed, speak about, how does the creation of Noah come about? You know what I'm saying? Like, were they athletes?
Yeah. Both my parents were athletes.
Okay.
They met in college in Seton Hall. My dad actually turned pro. He ran for Adidas. My mom decided not to go the professional route, but she ran like maybe a few months outside of college, and then was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do the housewife thing.
Yeah.
And then they conceived me and my brother and my sister, and for a long time, for probably age when I was born to 6 years old, asthma was just all my whole life. Just trying to breathe, get over asthma, hospital visits, surgeries, just getting through the life of that. And I remember, watching basketball. Basketball was my first love. And I was like, yeah, I want to go play basketball. And the thing I hated hearing all the time was, why don't we just get you healthy first? And I hated hearing it because what if that day never came? Would you have not let me take the chance? Like, it's my life. I mean, I know I'm a kid, but at the same time, what if I never got to take the opportunity to say, I'm going to do it despite my physical condition? And that always killed me. But thankfully, it got better, and they did allow me to do sports.
So at what age did you really start taking track and field serious, or, your parents really started to push you? And are you the only track and field person between your siblings?
No, my brother is also a professional athlete in track and field with Adidas.
Okay.
Yeah. We used to actually be in the same training group until 2023.
All right.
Yeah. So we went the whole mile. I started taking it serious in about 8th grade. Before then, I'd done every other sport. I was doing basketball, swimming, gymnastics, baseball, soccer, anything we could get our hands on.
You said everything but football.
And everything but football. Wasn't allowed to do that.
Tennis, man. We did pickleball.
Yeah.
Man, we did volleyball, did all that, yeah.
But, by the 8th grade, I was like, I'm like really good at high jump. I want to go, I want to make it to the Olympics in high jump. And my brother was like, yeah, I'm going to make the Olympics in the 400. And we were watching the opening ceremonies of the Olympics in 2012. And that's when we came up with this idea that we're just going to give it all. So, we go through all of high school and we're whipping everybody's butts. I'm breaking state records and whooping, sophomores and freshmen in college, and we're going to World Youth Championships and World Junior Championships, World Under 20 Championships, and we're whooping up everybody. And
in the high jump or
no, I eventually moved to the 100 and the 200.
Okay.
I'm still doing high jump, but I realized that, oh wow, this 200 might be my thing.
Yeah.
And then eventually the 100. But I get to my senior year. And my senior year was 2016. So the 2016 Olympics, Rio. And, I already qualified, me and my brother. And unfortunately, my brother did get hurt. But, I was able to go and I got 4th. And they take top 3. So I just barely missed it as a senior in high school.
Okay.
I broke the high school record, and Adidas came up to me and my brother, and they said, "We want to sign you to go professional." And we called up the coach at the University of Florida, and we said,
yeah,
we ain't gonna make it.
That's nuts. Yeah, coach. Yeah, I know I can.
But we had told him. We had told him that if the opportunity arose, that we were gonna take it.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, we're planning to try and go pro.
Or where are you from originally?
That's a hard question to answer.
Well, make it make sense.
I was born in Gainesville, Florida.
Okay,
I lived there for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And then I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina.
No way.
Yeah. And then I lived there for 5 years, moved to Oxon Hill, Maryland for about a half a year, and then finally got to Alexandria, Virginia. And then that was where I did most of my high school. Well, actually all my high school. Then finally moved back to Florida. So now I'm in the Orlando area.
Oh, wow. Mom's involved, pops involved, brother. The whole it's a
family thing.
It's a whole family of just supers, right? Everybody has this knack for real speed. But I've been to track events.
Track meets.
And I'm like, those are the longest days.
Yeah. Okay, so hang on. Which ones are you going to?
I'm high school.
Okay, yeah, that's why. Because they got 150 high schoolers.
Bruh. I'm like, bro, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, so you haven't been to a professional track meet yet?
Nah.
Yeah, those are 2 hours. A lot easier to handle, right? You can do 2 hours, right?
I think the ADD could kick in at any time.
It does. It can.
Yeah.
But you're only seeing each race once. So you're not watching 10 heats of the 100 meters.
Bro, so I ran track in high school, and I don't know, I pulled something because I was just out of it. See, there's a thing that's called like your mental. I'm running a 400. And that's all my dad said, like, boy, you got to run a 400. Boy, you got to get strong in there. That's going to affect your speed. I was like, all right, bet. I'm going to do it. And I had a humbling experience as I was running because it was the 4x1 that they put, 4x4 that they put me in. So by the time I got the baton, we like in 4th. So I'm like, oh, we got a chance. Boom, they got me. So the first dude just gave the baton off like 2 seconds before I got my baton. So boom, I got mine. Boom, I catch the first dude instantly, round the curve. Oh, he got it. Second dude, I get in, I would say arm's distance away, but then we on a straightaway. So I'm just running. I'm like, yeah. Then I just felt something just,
The monkey on your back.
Now this was a gorilla. I said, whoa. What was that? So mentally still strong. So then, boom, I'm running. That's when you make the ugly faces and you make these. I've known myself all my life. I started making all type of sounds I ain't never heard myself make, like, I'm sorry, gasping. I said, golly. The dude that I had was in arm's distance away, he was already like, his head got small. That's how far he got in front of me. And
you was watching his race.
Bruh. And then the other dude, I heard another dude, So I'm like, hold on. Wait, could it be? And I heard a whoop, ooh. But I was like, hold on, I was getting mad at the crowd. Cause I was like, that was only for the first place winner. Like, why y'all doing that versus me? So then the dude catch me, but what I didn't know, the guy that was in sixth place was catching everybody. And I was just a part of that, vacuum.
Yeah.
So boom, I'm running. I'm like, golly. I thought it was the dude that I had first caught that caught me, but now he been past me, boom, phew. Then the other dude that I initially caught, he finally caught. So we finished like 6th.
Yeah, that sounded about right. I'm not gonna lie.
My legs was gone. Man, it was so bad that it was like I just threw the baton at the dude. Like, I'm running, I said, here, bro, just take. I'm like, it was what it was. I was like, that day, I was like, nah, track ain't for me, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what the obsession is of 400s in high school coaches. I think it's because they always need them.
Probably. But what drew you to your events, though? Like, you started
first
with
of all,
high jump.
I'll say that I didn't do that. I didn't do the 400, even though my father was both my parents were 400-meter runners. I didn't do the 400. Wow. Thank goodness for that. I didn't want to. I threw myself into high jump.
Okay.
So it's a kind of a stipulation that field eventers can't do longer things. Mm-hmm. So they just never placed me in longer things. And I was very thankful for that. Mm-hmm. But as I started doing high jump, you're going to be forced to do multiple different events. And I get into 8th grade and they throw me in the 200 and I'm really fast. Like, I'm catching everybody. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just fast. Mm-hmm. So I go back to summer track and I'm doing high jump. I'm known because I've been doing well and I've made it to the Junior Olympics and I'm All-American there. And they're like, oh, throw them into the 200 and see how it goes. And like, okay, cool. I go to the 200. Now, these guys who've been running the summer leagues have been racing each other for the last month. Right. I'm new to the scene because I came back to North Carolina. I was living in Virginia. I came back to North Carolina to race them. The gun goes off. I'm in dead last. I ain't got no start.
In the 200?
In the 200. I don't got to start.
But how do you know?
I was a skinny little thing.
But how do you know if you're losing, if you're staggered? Everybody's staggered, yeah.
Yeah, you saw how he was a little head?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little head that I was looking at when I looked up. And then I hear the other guy behind me pass me.
No way.
Oh, yeah. I was in last. I was in last.
This 8th grade?
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I was racing like 15, 16-year-olds. That was the age group. So I was 15 at the time.
Okay, yeah.
We're running. We get through the bend. Now we're on the straight. Now I know this is my bread and butter. I'm going to do damage. And I can see the guy at first.
Oh, we still in the same space?
Still in the same place. Still in dead last. Still in dead last.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, this is a 200. So you go around the bend, and then you have a straight.
Yeah.
So I'm on the straight now. We start the straight, and I start catching people. And I'm that guy they were whooping for.
What?
You start picking off the guy in front, and then the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. And then you see the two people, first and second, battling it out. And I just come in and stroll past them and just beat them all. What? Yeah, I was that guy. And then what was real bad is later in the meet, I walked past that kid getting cursed out by his coach. And like, how could you let him beat you? He was in dead last. There ain't no way that he should be able to beat you. You the fastest, one of the fastest people in the country. Yada, yada. I'm like,
and what you say?
I ain't say nothing. No. I won.
What?
That's not my problem. None of my business.
Speechless?
None of my problems. None of my business.
I want to delve into, who were some of your early coaches or mentors who had, and how did they shape your training and just your development?
I actually haven't had that many coaches. I've probably had 3 coaches in my life. There was my dad, who first coached me through summer track. And he, of course, introduced me and my brother to what track was, how it's run, stats, the history of the sport, for sure. And of course, we were born around it. So, some of my godparents is a 5-time Olympian, Like, it was to a point where I thought being an Olympian was just like getting your driver's license. If you wanted it, you can go get it. That's how simple and how much around the culture I was. Like, almost everybody I knew was an Olympian. So it just became very normal here. And then, of course, my second coach was my high school coach, Coach Rayshawn Jackson. He just passed away last year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a big shock. It was right after the Olympic trials. It was a big shock. And it kind of sucked because he was the coach that believed that I could be a 100-meter runner. Because I was known for the 200, and I've had all my fastest races in the 200. And then, I've constantly had to force my way into the 100-meter scene. So it kind of sucks that he didn't get to see me become the Olympic champion in the 100. And then the coach that I'm with now is, Lance Brahman. That's my coach, and we have our own relationship. I call him, Brandon Marshall came down. He sat in one of our meetings in our practices, and he called him. He's like, "Yeah, you like a Bill Belichick." And I'd say that is a very good way to describe Coach B. He is definitely a Bill Belichick. He is a man's man, a straightforward to the point. Like, hey, the only person who can get this done is you. Like, you can stay in your own way, or you can do the work. That type of guy. Of course, he's he listens out, and he's going to try and make the best athlete out of you. But that's
how did that relationship kind of morph? Did you go after him? Did your father kind of counsel the situation, or did he say, "Hey, I want to"? How does that work in track?
Yeah, specifically for professional, right?
Yes, sir.
So when I went professional with Adidas, we signed the contract, and I have an agent. And the agent was the one who introduced us to Adidas. Then they were like, "Hey, you're going to need a coach. We can advise a coach." But Adidas was like, "We're personally going to let you go with whoever you want." They don't always do that, but they decided to do that for me and my brother.
I can see why.
Yeah. We were, the best at the time, so they didn't want to mess up nothing.
Right.
We got introduced to Lance Brahman, and we had a meeting at the Olympic trials in 2016. We talked about his program. We talked about who he has currently, who he had. He's had a lot of young people. He's also had a lot of older people in their career. And, of course, in the middle, you said athletes that are currently in the middle of their careers as well.
Yeah.
And when we heard this, it's like, okay, I feel secure enough to, if I go to this program, you're going to know what I need just starting out as a teenager, turning into a young 20s, and you're going to know what I need as I'm exiting my career into my 30s and what's going to be the next step. So, of course, when we first started that relationship, it was just, I'm going to listen to everything you say.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn. I'm here to absorb. I'm a sponge right now, and I'm trying to be the best. So I know that you've coached great, so, let me hear what you have. And over time, I've learned how he coaches, and he learns how I train, and we just kept growing from there. And then eventually it started shifting into a partnership.
Okay.
To where, we're having conversations of like, "Hey, coach, I've been thinking, like, we went to this championship and we did this before the warm up and it turned out to do really well. You mind if we do this at a few more track meets and see how that works? Or, hey, I feel like we're getting to a place where I'm not getting this out of the workout. Is it possible that we could do something in practice to emulate that?" And those are the conversations that we start having. And even to the point where, sometimes he'll come up and he'll be like, "Hey, what do you think of an athlete?" I'll give him my opinion, and all of a sudden they'll join in the group, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And but yeah, we a real partnership, I feel, is how me and my coach now have grown from student.
And how long have y'all been together?
10 years now. 2016.
Decade. That's dope. I want to talk about some of your challenges, biggest challenges you faced in your early athletic career, and how did you really overcome them? Because one thing about, track and field athletes or Olympic athletes as a whole, outside of the major sport athletes, is we don't see you guys. Mm-hmm. We just see you when it's time to perform, and you have to be at the best. Well, to get there, you have had to perform at a high level in meets or prelims, whatever it's called. And I'm sorry for my ignorance to this space, but just what have you been faced with, personally, where you just had to overcome?
I feel like a lot of my challenges actually came outside of the sport. Of course, we talked about asthma for a little bit, but then we go into school. We got ADD, but I also got dyslexia. Mm-hmm. That school was not easy. Just fighting through school was like my whole challenge. You know, what is it? I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
I'm just in school so I can run track. That was my mentality. I was just trying to, pass and be able to move on to whatever is after high school. Because I knew if I got there, then I'd be able to take over the world. And, finally I made it. And my first year, was great. I'm training. I had broken like the 300-meter indoor world record at the time. I was like, oh, I'm the man. I'm turning into a beast. And then I get injured running a new PR, setting a world lead at the time. I was like,
what, like injury, like what?
I had a 2-centimeter tear in the belly of my hamstring. And it was my first, it was in China.
Belly of your hamstring?
Yeah, like just the middle.
Oh, bad. Okay.
It's not out here on the side. It's not the adductor. It's smack dab in the middle, right under there. And oh gosh, I went to this doctor. He's very well known in the track and field world. His name is Dr. Mueller. He's out in Munich, Germany, and he's done Messi and Ronaldo and worked with them for years. And his treatment is very painful, but it's very effective. What he does is he goes in and he injects needles into
Like
your lower
acupuncture?
back. These are big needles.
Like dry needling then.
It ain't dry needling. He's giving you big shots. I'm gonna be honest. These are some pretty big shots. And he's filling the muscles up with fluid that your body needs to heal. So the vitamins and the nutrition that your body needs when you're trying to heal yourself. And he's just filling your muscles up with that. And then he'll go to the treated area. So for me, it was the hamstring, and they'll do the same thing. So I have, he's just constantly injecting me with probably like 12 shots a day. And I did that for 5 days. Your muscles are so filled up with fluid.
Inflamed.
And you're inflamed, and your nerves are just bursting at the seams. I remember I was in so much pain. I think I called my mom up that night, and I said, if this is anything close to what being pregnant is
epidural?
like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry for the pain that I caused you when I came out.
But I got your mama.
But yeah, it is extremely painful.
Yeah.
And then they massage it out, and then you do it again the next day. So again, I did that for 5 days, and I know some people who did it for 2 months. Yeah, Tyson Gay, he had to do that for 2 months. He wasn't able to train because that's just how severe his injury was at the time. Thankfully, I was up and out of there, and I just had to keep going. I started training again. I was trying to get ready for World Championships that year. It's 2017, and I got to the trials. I had to get top 3. I win my first round, and then we were starting to get ready for the second round, which will bring me to the finals. And I wake up that day, and I'm like, I don't think I can run.
This is pre-injury or post-injury?
This is post.
Okay.
This is post. The injury's gone now.
Okay.
But it's still lingering a little. And
does that affect your confidence?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you was injured and you was like, the one thing that you could do is run, and you can't run. Yeah, I think my confidence was gone, of course. And all I can do is, test it. My coach comes to me. This is, again, my first full year with my coach. And he's like, let's just warm up and see what happens. And I start warming up, and I'm trying to jog around, and I can't even jog. And I get on the medical table, and I'm like, I think we got to call it. I've been praying all day, and I'm like, God, give me a sign. And sometimes the sign is it hurts. And you need to stop. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen to you, God.
God done sent that life raft. He done sent the boat. He done sent the helicopter. He's like, no, God ain't sent me a sign yet.
No, the sign was stop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to listen. And I stopped. And I was the world's fastest man going as my rookie year in track and field. I was potentially supposed to win world championships that year. And I had to pull out. And I was so distraught. And I remember that was like the first time I've ever cried over track and field. I was so distraught. And I went back to the hotel room, and we came up with a plan, and we went back to the doctor a few weeks later, and the doctor looked at me and he said, there's nothing there. It's already healed. Whatever time frame happened from when I was at that race to when I got to him, it said it healed completely. You were just 1 week off. And I was like, dang, that freaking sucks.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not racing in normal track meets and I'm not going to world championships. So what am I doing with myself? I'm just rehabbing constantly. And what I had to tell myself in that moment was there are going to be some times where I'm going to want to do something. But if I don't stop and save myself for another day, I'll never get the opportunity to take those other chances. Because I truly believe if I would have ran that day and said, nah, this ain't a sign from God, that I would have went out there, injured myself more, and it might have had a career that was just plagued with injuries. And now I can, thankfully say that I have had very minimal injuries. And every world championships I've ever showed up to, I leave with gold medals.
Oh, no, you one of the ones for sure. Which leads me to, when was the last time you got like a second place? Is that silver?
Bronze.
Bronze.
The only second place I've ever gotten was
Ever
gotten at a championship was in a relay. And then...
It ain't even my fault, bro. Give me a chance. That's how I felt too until the belly of my hamstring just said, you know what, bro, we good. We play football.
Now, I also have 2 other bronze medals.
Okay.
One of them is, again, from the Olympics in 2021. And I was dealing with depression. And I was fighting depression tooth and nail. And it's still hard for me to go back and watch that race.
Wow.
I think I'm mad at myself. Because at one point you're like, how could you let yourself get depressed? How could you let yourself fall into this slope?
Yeah.
And I have chronic depression. I was on medication at the time. I was, talking to 2 therapists and trying to get through life, trying to get through everything. But it wasn't so much track as all the stuff that was happening around us. We were going through the Black Lives Movement. We were dealing with COVID. I hadn't seen, my mom or my parents in a long time. We were trapped inside the house. I'm a social butterfly, I want to do things. I want to tell stories. I couldn't do any of that. And, depression sinks in. And it was so hard to get myself out of that ditch. So, yeah, I show up to Olympic trials and I was like, I don't think I'm going to win this. And that's when my mom hit me one of the quotes that I swear by. She said, there's no reason to feel nervous. There's no reason to feel anxiety because this moment was made for you.
This segment is brought to you by BetterHelp, and this is our mental health check-in. A question that I received is, how does mental health play a role in my relationships? I mean, in every aspect of life, there's some version, form, or type of stress. Being in a good mental state impacts that, helps you alleviate that. What I tend to do is focus and lean towards my tribe. That's my support group. That's my friends. That's my loved ones. That's my partner. All the above. As I'm navigating this thing that we call life, there's things that's easily flared up, and there's also other things that you can be on edge. But what I will tell you is to help any type of mental health situation, lean on your tribe. By doing that, it now allows others to hold you accountable and also you be in a better state. I think mental health check-ins are extremely important. And if you want to take it a step further and seek a therapist, you can visit betterhelp.com for yourself. Back to the show.
And it was when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. It's not that I gotta be somebody. It's not that I gotta raise my bar up. It's not that I gotta play out of my mind. I gotta bring myself to another dimension. The moment was already made for me. So I just gotta be me. And that's what I took throughout the rest of my career. So even when we got to the Olympics, and it's the 100 meters, and it's 2024, and we in Paris, and all the guys are lined up, and I'm in my weaker event, and everybody can brag that they got a better start than me. And I got beat through the first round, and I got beat in the semis. And here I am in the finals, about to prove that I'm gonna win. It's not the thought that I gotta be somebody else. It's the thought that this moment was already made for me. All I have to be is me.
That's heavy. But with you and Coach Braun, I'm pronouncing his name right.
Brahman. Yeah,
Brahman. Yeah. With you and Coach Brahman, y'all ain't never really try to focus only on them starts, because I don't know a lick about track, but I'm like, bro, if his start was as good as his finish, But that what they said that 4.12 or that man, it'd be like a 3.9.
That's so funny that you say that. Because no, you don't run track, but you are an athlete.
Okay.
What's your weakness?
Man, let me think.
I know it's hard.
It's
I'm gonna give you a little bit of time. Go ahead.
It's extremely. I got stamina. That's what my girl tell me. Strong like bull. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. God did his thing when he made me.
Sure, he did. But you're not perfect, so he gave you something.
I never said it was perfect.
So there's something. There's something in there.
I don't know, bro. You know what? I could be very... And please hold your applause and hold your sound effects.
Hey, he's gonna humble himself, so there's no harsh feelings right now. It's a vulnerable place.
I could be very bullish sometimes.
Okay.
What they call it, like stern.
Stern. Okay.
But I gotta
straight to the point.
It's not even that. It's just like I just know what I want, and I just But I heard this quote. It's like, I'd rather be hard to deal with rather than easy to play with. You hear me knocking?
I can hear. I hear.
You hear me knocking?
Now, I will raise that.
Okay, talk to me.
Have you ever had somebody who hasn't understood that?
Oh, I like where we at. I love it. Yes, that's the biggest flex though, to be understood.
Be heard.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that they don't understand or hear what you're trying to say, it can be hard sometimes to get them to see the other side.
I shut down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you don't want to shut down.
No, there's been multiple times where I've tried to show myself to a person, to an organization, to a brand that I'm not what you're painting me out to be. You know what I'm saying? And it happens professionally and personally.
Exactly. And it triggers. It triggers.
Yes,
but,
for sure.
And you don't want it to happen though.
Yes.
Because you've worked on yourself,
yes.
Correct?
And constantly.
Yeah. But yet you still have a similar result.
Subjective, but I'm here.
It happens more than you would like to happen.
Yes, correct.
That's working on your weakness. Blocks is my weakness.
I see what you did.
It's not that I'm not practicing it. It's not that I'm not going out there and studying it more than my strength.
Right.
I know it's my weakness. I study that thing more than the back of my hand. I know it better than the front of my hand. I study other people. I know why they're good starters. I know why I'm not a good starter. I'm working on it.
Do you care to share?
Of course. Why
are you not a good starter? Like,
it's not so much that I'm not a good starter. It's that I'm going up against the best in the world. And each of us have our gifts. There are some people that their fastest part of their race is the first 30 meters. They are extremely strong. They can activate their nervous system to fire exactly how they want at the exact time that they say go, and they can stay in that moment. Now, what's hard for them is that when they stand up and they ask for more, they already used it.
It's like that. It's like Fast and the Furious, and they hit that nitro.
Exactly. You only get one hit. Now, there are some people who are even throughout the whole way. So they might not be the greatest starter or the greatest finisher, but they're very good at each part of it. And then there's some people who just have top speed for days. I'm a top speed guy.
For days or
for days. I can name probably the only 3 people who probably have more top speed than me recorded is Usain Bolt. I'll put Tyson Gay on there, and I'll put Johan Blake. And none of them are running anymore. So my job is to make sure that even though they might be better than me in that first part, all I gotta do is say, as long as I can put my hand in your pocket, this race is mine. Cause you gonna burn out, and I'm gonna get faster.
And when you do,
I'm gonna be there.
All right. In football, it's a known fact that we talk crap.
It is, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I wish they did it more in track.
Talk to
I wish they
me,
did.
not. I need to know. Like,
It's the
are you
truth.
running and do you talk to? Oh, I got you, boy. No, you hear me
I ain't
coming.
gonna
boy.
lie. Sometimes I will. Just
real?
depending on the race. Depending on the race. In practice, I do it all the time. They'll be.
Oh, you got, boy. I know
nah. This is my cue right here. Because I know if I'm with you at the first 3 steps and you ain't past me, it's over. So the first thing I'll say is, gun goes off, bang, 1, 2, 3, it's over. And they'll be over here turning their head like, what? He was saying in the middle of it, and then all of a sudden I'm gone, and you can't catch me because you already messed up. And I've done that in many races. I've done that in 60s. I've done that in 100s. And the gun goes off, bah! And it's like, oh, my hand in your pocket. You ain't do it. You ain't doing that, boy. You ain't do it. You messed up. You done fucked up today.
I got you.
Got him.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I'd say I'm probably one of the top 2 worst at body language and trash talking.
Who's the other one?
Other one, I'd say Fred Curley, but he doesn't do it in the race. He does it outside of the race. Or he more talks his shit. That's what I say. He more talks his shit. And again, I don't got a problem with that. Like, I like that stuff. But there's another one. I ain't gonna lie. Let's see Tobogo. Right now he's very beloved. He won the 200 at the Olympics.
Okay.
First African to do it. Very talented. Very talented. Mm-hmm. And he likes to point too. He likes to point. He likes to play, and I love it because it's exciting. It gets
points
people.
Can
it gets
be
people
in any walk of life. A point. This right here.
Oh, have you not? One of my most famous pictures. It was U.S. Championships. The young kid, Arion Knighton. He had the fastest time of the year that year. Everybody was like, "Oh, no, I ain't gonna win this year. He ain't gonna win this year. Yeah, this ain't his year. This is Arion's year." All right, bet. Gun goes off. Bah! He's out there, out there winning. Everybody's like, "Oh, the race is over." I come off the turn. Here I go again. I'm in like 5th. We get to the turn. 4th, 3rd, 2nd. I'm like, ooh, I'm about to catch him. I should do something. I'm going to point at him. We go by the line.
Yeah, we won't do that. Yeah, we could be good teammates, but that point for me, man.
Points, looks, yeah. Nah, yeah.
Shakira, she got that. You and her have really revitalized the sport. What's the young lady? Not Hutchinson.
Sydney, 400 hurdles.
Yes.
There you go. She's 400. She runs the 400 as well.
Yeah, Sydney McLaughlin. Did I pronounce her?
Yeah, McLaughlin Veroni.
Yeah, her husband,
Yeah.
right, we used to call him like action figure because his body was just so like.
He does have that action figure.
Yeah.
No, he's a really cool guy though.
No, for sure. And he was always, it was so crazy, quick story about him. He was always, like he found God in the lead, right? And a devout Christian. I'm talking about devout. It's like, no, I can't do
very
this.
aware.
I really don't want to, I don't want to listen to this music. I'll just go, change here or do there. And, hey, and I would always ask like for like verses or like Bible things. Cause me being a preacher's child, right? I knew the Bible. So I would always want to hear other people's perspective. And me being the toxic person that I am, sometimes I was like, yo, I knew right from wrong. I didn't always choose right though. And I would, love, kind of poking people. And I was like, yo, bro, like, is you active? He was like, nah. It's like the word says. I was like, yeah, bro, but he was like, nah, I'm waiting on marriage. And when I seen that happen, I was like, yeah, my boy. Not for all the wrong reasons, but he's such a good guy. He's such a good guy. And obviously Sydney could not be with another person that I would approve. Not that I even know. I've never met her a day in my life. No, I did actually meet her at the Gatorade event with Tatum. And shout out to Tatum. Golly, the ADD kick.
It's kicking in. It's all
right.
right.
Overpowered right now.
We're still on topic though. You good? You good?
Yeah. Bro, I just went to 5 different.
Hey, that ADD kicking.
It's working. That brain is there. What I want to talk about is Olympics. And you've been in the media for
a few things.
A couple.
Which one would you like to talk about?
I would like to start with world champion of what? That.
You know, if they don't know me for being the Olympic champion, they know me for that comment.
Yes. Talk to me. Like, where were you? I don't even want to speak. I just, take us through it.
So, it was the end of the 200 at Budapest, World Championships 2023. Mm-hmm. I just won. I just did the double, became the 5th man to ever do the double. And, we're doing the interview. And the post interview after the whole event.
Right.
And a reporter comes up and he's like, hey, knowing the recognition that you get over in Europe and around the world, what is it like in the US? Like, we know that track and field is not as popular. Like, what's your viewpoint on it? And I'm like, it's frustrating at times because we're doing such amazing things and we're representing the US every year we do this. And it hurts because sometimes they only pay attention during the Olympics. And the part that really hurts is that you have world champions, but you have allocated a world championship title to a national title in the NBA and in the NFL and in baseball.
Explain.
When you are competing for a league that only faces in one country, that's a national title. Mm-hmm. When you compete against everybody in the world and they have all agreed to show up in this one place, that's a world title. Mm-hmm. When you show, let's say all the Americas, North America, South America, everybody, all those countries decide that they want to do it. That's an intercontinental championship. Mm-hmm. So it involves multiple countries, but it's not all the countries. So it hurts when, an NBA champion comes out and they're like, we're the world champions.
Oh, I see.
It's like, wait, you only faced teams that were organized in the U.S.
In the U.S. or in this nation, yeah.
Why are you a world champion? No disrespect to what you did.
It's just facts.
What you did is amazing.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I love the marketing. And I love the storytelling. That's the fun part is, besides actually playing the sport, that's the other part of sports to me. But you're giving them a title that, me and a lot of other athletes in the U.S. have actually fought for and get no recognition for. Mm.
So if you could change how they express their excitement for winning, what would you prefer them to say?
I don't think of it like that. Okay. I think it's more our fault for not giving a better way of marketing it.
So you don't want, and the blase blah, the world champions.
I think that world champions is fine and all that. I think our problem is that we are not organized enough. We're too amateur. In fact, we are amateur.
The U.S. is?
No. Oh. Track and field is a sport.
Oh, okay. There we go.
No, track and field as a sport is amateur. Mm. I'm a contractor. I'm contracted by Adidas to sell product. Mm-hmm. How I do that is by running and being seen on TV. But when I go to a track meet, anybody can go to these track meets. You can go to this track meet. if you run fast enough. Or maybe not even run fast enough. Maybe you just know the right person. I mean, I went to a track meet and DK Metcalf was running. And like, what did DK Metcalf do to prove that he was fast enough to be in this race?
Oh, to qualify to run in the race.
Yeah.
Oh. So, is this like it's a meet, but it's...
These are track meets. These are legit track meets. These are professional track meets.
But how do you qualify for it?
That's the question. Anybody can come if you know the right person.
What?
It's crazy, right?
It sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy because what you might have, if you want to play in the NBA, you got to be picked up by a team, and they got to put you on the roster, and you get paid by the roster.
They have like
and combines, and you got pro day where you prove you're good enough to even be accepted into the league. There's no league.
Not in track.
Not in track.
Yeah,
you know, we have governing bodies for the U.S. and they just govern what happens. And they'll be like, okay, you're not doing drugs, and if you're really good enough, we might provide you some medical throughout some of these track meets. And when we go to a world championships, we'll be your representatives. Because you now run for the U.S., not for whoever is paying you. So when I go and I'm winning all these titles, I'm wearing Nike uniforms with USA on it. But I'm sponsored by Adidas. So my spikes are Adidas. Because that's who my contractor is. Because I'm not even an employee. You getting how confusing it is, right?
Yeah, I guess it's like more questions.
Yep. So I don't blame the U.S. for being confused that we are having a world championships or this random track meet over here and why they should be enthralled or entertained by it.
Okay, so I'll ask it in this way. How long do you plan on running?
I'll definitely make it to L.A. I'll definitely make it. So 2028. And then I'll take it year by year after that.
So you will be 33?
I'll be 31.
31.
31 in LA. And if I make it to Brisbane, I'll be 35.
35. Okay. What happens when you're 40?
I'll move on to the next stage of my life.
And I don't want to harbor on this, but just the thought of like, do y'all have like a union?
Union? We're contractors. Yeah. We can't unionize.
But like, okay, do y'all have a retirement plan?
Who's making the retirement plan?
I'm asking these questions. No, what?
No,
I'm
glad you're asking the questions.
Yes.
But it seems simple, but it's not. Because we're all individuals.
So there's no type of pensions?
No.
For track and field or just track?
Track and field. Oh, it's even worse on the field side.
Yeah, that's a little...
confusing. Very amateur. Very amateur.
So y'all need like a commissioner or something that could be like...
I'll give you... No, I'm giving a lot of credit to this league. So Michael Johnson... You know Michael Johnson?
Yes. The gold
spikes.
One of the, well, he was at that time the fastest man in the world.
He was in the 200 and the 100.
Yeah.
I broke his record, by the way.
Soda flex.
He has created a new league. He's called it Grand Slam Track. This league hires athletes to come run at 4 track meets over a year. And then they can take money depending on if they win. What place they get, they can take home even more money. This is the closest thing we've ever had to a professional league in track and field.
So how does it work?
We're kind of a little at odds right now.
Oh, you want the bigger piece of the pie?
It's not even that. It's that he doesn't want to give me it. I've worked very long to increase my value in this sport.
Okay.
When he came to me and asked me to be a part of it, he gave me a number. And we said that number is not a fraction of what my worth is right now. And this is before the Olympics. We came back to him after the Olympics. I said, I still like what you're doing. I'd like to be a part of it. But if I'm not going to financially gain on one side, I have to market-wise get value from it. And at the time, he could not give me enough reason in my head to believe that I was going to market-wise get enough value from it. And I know a lot of track and field people are going to be mad, but I'm going to ask you this one question to prove my point. Have you ever heard of Grand Slam track?
No, I have not.
And that proves my point.
And I've heard of.
Do not
Michael
feel
Johnson.
bad.
Yeah.
This is only proving that we need to do better. We need to step up. That there needs to be a higher level of marketing, storytelling, and and pushing the product. Have you heard of Sprint?
Like the pin drop sprint?
No. The
communications?
Netflix. That's funny because I like that because I do remember that, but I know a lot of people.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Good.
I haven't heard that reference in a long time. Anyway, no, the Netflix series that they made for track and field as the Olympics was building up, it was called Sprint. And it was number 1, it was number 2 in the world for like 4 or 5 weeks. It was a long time. But it basically told the stories of the fastest people in the world as you got to the Olympics. And people were diving into it. After that came out, I was more popular than I have ever been. And this is before Paris happened. I was shocked. I went out in London and I had high schoolers coming up to me and be like, yo, you the guy from Netflix? Yo, you the guy from Sprint? You the guy who won all those awards, yada, yada, yada. And I've been to London multiple times. I've never gotten recognized to the point where it's like, okay, I don't think I can leave the hotel anymore. Like, this is a problem. That was taking what we're doing, showing it to a bigger audience, and showing other companies that what we're doing is not only important, but
it's a proven product.
Proof of product.
Yes, for sure.
Right now, we don't have a lot of proofs of product. But that is one piece of it. But the fact that, again, I asked you the question, do you know what Grand Slam track is? You cannot tell me you know what it is. Shows me that whatever they're doing right now is not strong enough for me to get my value on the side of marketing, and you're not giving it monetarily. So what would I be doing it for?
I know Michael Johnson is a household name, but look, one thing I will tell you, and without knowing anything, business is business, bro. And one thing that you cannot do in business is get emotional or take it personal because it's business. And both parties have to come to any agreements that say, hey, this is fair and for me. And that negotiation process may take long. And along that time of happening, or as it's happening, a lot of discoveries, they come up. It's like, yo, well, he's a little different. You know what I'm saying? Or she's a little different. So we have to, pay accordingly.
No, I do agree. And there might be a time, maybe next year I'll join.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm very open. I'm trying to stay very open because, again, like I said, this is the first thing we've ever had to a track and field league. And I would truly like to see it succeed.
Yeah, some of the things that you're saying is like wowing because you ever think about like the people who've, like Usain Bolt. So you mean to tell me he don't got like no retirement plan? Or?
Oh, that was a long story. He did. Did you hear that he got scammed recently? His retirement plan got kind of got scammed. It got pulled on the rug. He was getting scammed by a company, and they took a lot of the money that he believed he was investing in, and yeah, that really sucked to hear. But he's still good. He's very successful. He still has what I believe to be a lifetime deal with Puma. I don't know how much they pay him, but he's always in Puma still, so I'm assuming they're still paying him. Yeah. And he still has companies and things that he does, marketing wise. He still gets paid, yada yada yada. But if you're talking about a plan that was set up by a company for when he retires? No. We all have to do our own retirement planning.
So even then, like there's a question that comes about of how does track and field athletes get paid?
There's many ways.
Okay.
The simple way is we go to a track meet, we win, they pay us money. The next level is if we're good enough, a shoe contractor will come through, an Adidas, a Puma, a Nike, New Balance, and they'll say, hey, we're going to pay you 4 years, and we're going to pay you a set amount of money every 4 years. And if you win gold, we'll throw in a bonus. And if you win multiple golds, we'll throw you more bonuses. Now, if you are not running fast to the level that we think you should, so if you're not top 10 in the world, we're actually going to deduct from that base salary. And some companies might say, if next year you do become top 10 again, we'll give you back the money. Some companies will not give you back the money.
This is a true world out here, boy.
Ooh, it's very cutthroat. And again, that model doesn't work for a lot of athletes. Because again, there's no set line of what's professional. So there's this one budget. There's one track and field budget for each one of these companies. Whatever they got is what they're going to spend. And guess what? NILs are a thing. So where they were throwing some decent medium-sized contracts, that middle class, there's the 1%ers, the middle class, and then the lower class. They said, why are we spending all this money on the middle class when we could just start giving it to the NILs, where they're going to college? And these colleges are being seen more than the professional track and field athletes are, which is only really getting seen at a world championship level.
Yeah, not as much.
So we're going to move most of that money to that lower class. And now that middle class is shrinking quickly.
So as far as like stardom, and do you have a plan to bring more awareness to this sport from your realm being an American? Is it safe to say you get more popularity in other countries?
I'd say that depending on how I market myself determines the popularity. Through track, I am more popular outside of the US. Or at least I would have said that before sprint came out and before I won the Olympic gold.
Okay.
Now I would say I'm the most popular in the US. I would then say that it's growing more than any other athlete in the track and field space because I'm kind of moving into different realms. Where I thought I was just going to be stuck with track, now I'm, walking into the fashion space, and I'm meeting, Micah Mary and Willie. I don't want to mess up his name, but him and Adidas just did a collab, and I walked for him, and I'm walking into Hugo Boss, and I'm doing collaborations and walking on runways,
right.
And all these people are just like, oh, we want to do things with you, and I'm shocked because I'm like, well, I haven't seen other athletes do stuff like this, and then it dawns on me, I'm the first American to win the Olympic medal since social media has come out. The last American to win the 100-meter gold was Justin Gatlin. That was in 2004.
What? Man, Jamaica,
That was 20 years ago.
That's nuts.
So now I'm the next American to do it, and we have social media.
But I'll say this too, like, and I sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
But to your point, it's like you have personality. Like there's a lot of audacity in you. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, hold on, wait, what did he say? Oh, wait, what did he do? Oh, he win too? Oh, bet. And he black?
Yeah.
Big bet. You see what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
So it's like you have marketability that is undenying when people, really find out about you, but also knows about you. I'm curious to know, where do you get your confidence from? Like, Because going through what you've been through to who you are today, there's certain things that you pull from and, rock out with.
Therapy. A lot of therapy. I've done some form of therapy since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
That's when I got diagnosed with ADD and dyslexia and all that stuff. And, at first it's just play therapy. Play therapy, basically you go into games and they kind of like trick you into talking about like, what do you think of, what's going on in your life and yada, yada, yada. And you're playing games while you're at it. Then, I actually got a sports therapist when I was in high school because I'm like, I'm going to these big competitions and I have big dreams. I need to be mentally strong enough and capable enough to know whatever stage I walk on that I'm going to be prepared for it. Yeah. And then eventually I got to a point where it's like, okay, it's not just on the track that I need to be prepared for. I need to be prepared for life. I need a toolkit, a tool bag where if I got a situation, I can pull out anything and, like, oh, I'm ready for that, And that's where I not only understood myself, but I started feeling like I understood humans.
At what age did you become aware and, dare I say, needed help, but leaned into therapy? Because as a culture, right, as a race, we're not, and as a gender, we're not always the ones that say, you know what, I need help. We're the people that's like, no, I'll figure it out. Yeah. Yeah.
My mom. I was raised by my mom after my parents got divorced. When I was probably about 10 years old when they got divorced. We were still living in Charlotte, but then we eventually moved to Maryland, where her family's from, and then moved to Virginia after that shortly. But my mom's way of thinking was very, she has chronic depression as well, and she has to take medicine for probably the rest of her life because it's so, it got so bad. If you don't treat depression early on, it can get so bad that you will have to live on the medication the rest of your life. Thankfully, she's been able to, go to therapy. She's on the medication, so she, lives with it. But she taught me, tips and tricks throughout our life. And, one of her favorite quotes is, I spent thousands of dollars for these answers and I'm giving you for free. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. And it's up to you if you want to listen to it or not. But sure. I decided.
Listen and implement is two different things, too.
That's true. Yeah. But I decided that I didn't want to be the guy who's going to freeze up on the line to race. But I also was dealing with everything, every which way. I mean, I was bullied in high school. I recently got into a conversation where, somebody I was talking to, they thought they kind of figured me out very quickly because
female, like in an intimate.
No.
Just a regular conversation.
It was a regular conversation.
Okay, go ahead.
We know of each other, but we were really. This is our third time actually having conversation back and forth, and they're like, "Oh, I think I figured you out because I'm mouthy,
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh yeah, you were the one who probably got picked on as a kid," and it's like, but you didn't fight back if after you got mouthy and they actually used physical force, you probably back off. And I kind of just went silent because there was a lot of things I could say, but I decided not to say. So later on, I got back with my fiance and I told her, I used to get bullied by females in middle school, and she was right to a degree. I would not get physical because as a man,
females, correct. You're taught
not to put hands on a female.
But if this was a man that was talking to you, then your natural reaction would have been
to get physical,
to fight. Yeah.
So yeah, I got bullied for months because in my head I'm just like I'm a black man.
Yeah.
And I'm being bullied by females. I'm not gonna do anything. And if nothing would have changed, and if they hadn't gotten physical with me, and my mom figured it out, and she went down to the school and took care of business. But at the same time, that still scarred me. Now I'm very mouthy because I'm not going to lose a contest of words because that's, at the time, how they were bullying me with words.
Yeah. Bro, you know what? And I never really thought, dare I say, never. But you don't think bullying is, like if somebody was like, yo, you getting bullied, the first thing I would think, or if my son or my daughter said, it was gender to gender. Like, it's like boys picking on boys, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Girls, no, you're not the cool girls, or your shoes are cheap, or you're just trash, or blah, blah, blah. But when it's an opposite sex, that is bullying too. Yeah. And as you were talking, I'm saying to myself, like, yo, I never really even thought about, bullying in that type of regard, because it does have lasting effects. And it's sad that, well, it's just good that you just make that, understanding your emotions. And I'm always a person who's been an avid person for help. Now, with help, I would admonish anybody or really tell anybody who hears this, sees this, or watch this, it's the first thing is knowing, right? Mm-hmm. When you get triggered, right? You ask me something like, what's your weakness? And not that I trick myself, it's that when I don't feel like I'm being heard, I just shut down. It's just, and I shut down because I would hate to retaliate. You see what I'm saying?
You've come to the conclusion that if you retaliate, it's not gonna fix anything. Because you weren't hearing me before. Why would you hear me now?
And there is a quote that says, "Don't ever do something that you end up apologizing for." And it's just one of those things. But understanding your triggers, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of the other techniques that you've, or some techniques that you've done for yourself to alleviate flare-ups?
I definitely say that yes, you can shut down, and sometimes shutting down is a good time. But sometimes you're in a position where you can't shut down, and figuring out how to communicate what it is you're feeling to the right person, so that they can help you through that situation. Mm-hmm. So that for me, that's my fiance, Janelle.
Wow.
I had to, and I still am, teaching myself to communicate with her in a way that explains that I am frustrated, and I cannot be, I'm trying to be vulnerable to her so that she can help me. Mm-hmm. Because right now, if I help, it's not gonna go well. So having that person to be, to allocate to help you through that situation, I feel is always a good tool. But also learning how to communicate even through the frustration. Oh, yeah. Or even being aware of can sometimes be all you need.
Yeah.
And, I feel like you hear old couples say this all the time, like, every fight isn't worth it. Mm. And sometimes I literally have to think to myself, in the grand scheme of things, is this worth it? I know I'm not being heard right now, but is proving my point to this person really worth it? Like, what are they gonna do? Like, if they do get my point, like, yeah, they might get it and their life might change. Maybe it won't change, even if they do understand my point. What is it worth all this energy that I'm giving towards it?
For sure.
And why do I feel a need to give this energy towards it?
Has criticism or public scrutiny affected your mental preparation or performance?
Oh, of course. In good and bad ways.
Okay.
And, sometimes, I'm positive. First of all, I remember where I was when the Carolina Panthers were at the Super Bowl.
You talking about depressed.
It's me, my brother, and my boy Booth. We all come from North Carolina. We all lived in Charlotte at one point in time. Oh, man, we were excited to see you play. Because here you were, taking the Panthers, a team that not known for much.
The forgotten team, right?
And here they were at the Super Bowl. And you're like, oh, my gosh, this is a dream come true. So I know that you understand that sometimes you can hear those comments and be like, I ain't going to do it? Bet. Yeah. I can't do it? Bet. This is the person who's going to beat me? Bet. Bet. And I'm gonna use that. So yeah, I can hear that and take that and use it as motivation. But of course, sometimes, what is it? Ooh, there's this Drake line. The devil will scream out your failures and whisper your accomplishments. Sometimes it only takes like one comment. You thought you were good with all of them. You're like, you suck, yeah. You're too cocky, yeah. And then somebody will just hit you with the, I bet you cry at night.
Who said that?
That one got me. I don't know why it got me. I don't know why it got me, but it got me. And again, you got to think to yourself, like, what's the context of the situation? This is probably somebody who ain't got nothing to do with their life. They looking for something to do because they bored, because they not excited. That their life is not exciting enough, so they got to go and find something entertaining enough to keep their entertainment to it, and then feel like they're attached to it somehow. And that comment that they decided to leave that was hurtful, that they didn't really think about because it's online, so they don't got to worry if somebody going to come catch them. Yeah. But you know that you got the light always shining on you. Right. You just got to know, I'm going to pray for them.
That's a positive way of looking at things.
It doesn't work all the time. I'm sure you know, but.
For sure. Sha'Carri is a person who... we've all grown fond of just the support as a whole. Why do you think the media enjoys attacking you and her?
I think that just like they have people that they like to root for, if they go outside of the boundaries of what they think is possible, something got to be off. Got to be off. He can't really be that good. I remember I broke the American record. I've never had an issue with drugs, steroids, or anything like that. All of a sudden, everybody like, he has to be on drugs. Mind you, I get drug tested randomly 3 times a month. Randomly. They could show up 3 times in one day, or 3 times, day to day. They could show up once a week, twice a week, however they want to do it. But all of a sudden, I'm on drugs now. Just because I did something that they thought just can't be possible.
Physically impossible.
It's impossible. The realms of what they could think of with the information that they have, it can't play out that way. But they don't know how I train. They don't know how I eat, how I sleep. They don't know the therapy sessions that I go through. They don't know the talks that I have with my friends, with my mom, with my coach. They don't even know my coach. But the information that I have allocated to them, with that information, they've decided that this is out of the realm of possibility. And sometimes I'll blame them, and sometimes I won't. Because, you're not going to learn every human being on the planet Earth. Yeah. And sometimes, it's like, this sucks. Like, so many people are attacking me. But what's 10,000 people to 7 billion people on the Earth?
You snapping. That's facts. Are you tell me about this the track community. Are you guys close knit? Do you hang out? Would you like to say like a Sydney or a Sha'Carri or
I'd say everybody knows everybody.
Okay.
Everybody. It's so small. Like a lot of the people that I run with, we'll take Grant Holloway. Me and Grant have been racing since high school. I know some people that I've been running with since middle school, and we've all made it to the top. It's very tight-knit. And if you don't know somebody, they'll come on and they'll be new, and you'll be like, all right, you'll see them at a track meet, because we're all going to the same track meets. Yeah. And you're like, hey, I saw you race last week. Good job out there. Some people are, a little to themselves. There are definitely cliques within the track community. But for the most part, since we all are on the same team most of the time, and we all are going to the same track meets, we even got love across countries. There's Akani Simbine, an amazing man. He's very fast too. He got 4th at the Olympics in the 100 in Paris, and he's hot right now. He's running real fast, and right now in the world, he's the world leader currently. I got nothing but love for that man. Yeah, he's a very great person to be around. You enjoy it. And I could be running a race and not running a race, and I'm still going to cheer for him. Yeah. Like, I want you to do your best every time you go out there. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to give you my best. Yeah. But I want everybody to give their best when they go out there. I'd say we're very tight knit. Even if you don't have one person that you like, you're probably close to somebody that they're close to as well.
Yeah. So watch what you say. Huh? Last thing about criticism. How do you distinguish between constructive and negative? Like, how does your brain process, yeah, you can't do that, which is still criticism. Yeah. Hey, you talk too much. Yeah, it's criticism. But how do you filter through what you can use or what would you allow to use you?
I try to figure out if this is coming from a place of emotion or a place of thoughtfulness, understanding, and maybe just passion of, knowing who I am. Hearing somebody say, you're never going to beat so-and-so, you're just not good enough. That's a level of passion and emotion that you have towards that other person, and you want to see that person win. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm glad that you have somebody that you root for. Now, somebody saying, you suck at blocks because you never practice it. Well, that's just not true. You don't know me, but how would you know that?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Now, somebody else going online and they're doing a deep dive and they're like, I've watched Noah's start and I've evaluated it over the years and he has made some improvements, but some things that I think that he could improve on is doing such and such because these athletes do such and such. And, maybe, if go out there. And I'm like, okay, I might listen to this. Because you're not coming from a place of emotion. You're coming from a place of, I might not be a fan, but I know some things that you might want to actually change that could, actually help along the way. And who am I to say that he doesn't know what he's talking about? Because I don't know him. So I at least got to hear him out. Because again, you're not coming from, he's not coming up to you aggressive, not saying any mean things, He's trying to actually relay something, actually trying to inform.
Track isn't necessarily a team sport, but who is your support system, especially while you're traveling?
My family, for sure. Again, I come from a track and field family, so we know each other very well. Now, this event this weekend, I'm running, my brother's running. I got teammates that are running. My coach is going to be here, of course. I got friends and family members coming. That's a team right there. Of course, I have medical staff and, I have chiropractors and I'll be on the phone with my sports therapist to come up with a game plan. But that's all part of the routine. That's all part of the people I keep close to me so that I'm not constantly looking, I would say. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking for attachment. I'm not looking for somebody to celebrate me. I'm around people who understand me, hear me, and like to be around me, and I like to be around them.
Take me through like your routine, like massage. Is it deep tissue massage? Acupuncture? Is it dry needling? Is it cold tub? Is it hot tub? Is it cryotherapy? Is it chiropractor? Is it yoga? Like, what are some of the things that you implement while you're training versus whatever, if there's a difference?
Yeah, there's not really much of a difference of off season versus in season. In season, I'll get a massage once a week. It's deep tissue. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours if need be. My massage therapist, her name is Mona, and she makes you moan now.
Ow, 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 ow,
ooh,
ow,
ah. Oh man, she's extremely thorough. She's one of the best, truly one of the best in the world. But yeah, she's detailed, and she knows my chiropractor that I've been with since high school. And they're like brother and sister at this point. I take them to all my big championships. When somebody finds something, they'll call up the other and be like, hey, we need to keep an eye on this. Or I need you to work on this because I was manipulating the body and this is a little off.
Them little knots, them shoulders, the back, them legs.
And then I got my PT. And my PT's job is to come in and say, hey, the chiropractor adjusted you, your massage therapist made you loose enough, but for some reason you keep going into these bad positions. I'm going to get the little muscle strong enough so that you don't keep going to those bad positions. Because everybody likes to focus on the big muscle groups. But what happens when you need to stabilize? What happens when you need to be on the exact angle of the ball of your foot so you can get the most power out of your leg? That's what you got to have a PT for, a biomechanist. And of course, I have my coach, and his job is to give me the workout that's going to take me from the first day of practice to the last race of the year and many years after. And all of them work together. You know, if my coach tells me that you need to engage your glute more when you get out of the blocks, I'm going to say, okay, let me go down my checklist of how to do that. Am I tight? Are my glutes tight? Nope, just had a massage. Are my hips leveled? Yep, they are level because I just went to my chiropractor. All right, well, maybe I'll just think about it harder. Or maybe I'll do some type of drill that I think is going to implement it. And if that works, great. If it doesn't, I'm going to call up my PT and I was like, hey, we need to figure out how we're going to make these glutes fire. Because right now they're not doing it. And so on and so forth. And, you know, once that's all laid out, me and my sports therapist will be talking throughout the year. But then there's championship season. That's when you go to national championships, world championships.
Talk to like what month or what?
We're talking at least twice a month on a normal basis. When it gets serious, we're talking probably 3 times a week.
No, I'm talking when you say championship series or
season. That's usually from July to August.
Okay.
That's when all the biggest races are coming. That's when you're going to have to qualify for the world championship team. Then you'll go to world championships. You might have Diamond League finals in there somewhere. You know, that's, you know, when this is for all the marbles. All these races are super important now. You know, that's when you have to have the right headspace. Yeah. And, you know, me and my sports therapist, we're cooking up plans. We're like, this is the strategy. This is how you say you want to run. Well, this is how you need to feel. If you're saying that you're going to be, you know, coming off the turn with excellent speed, what does that feel like? You know, what is the mindset leading up to that day? There's no stressing. You got to get rid of stress. You know, you want only endorphins, you know, the good feeling going throughout the day and the week and making sure that everything's planned out so that by the time I get to the day, I don't have to do any thinking. It's just running. You
said a lot of people or a lot of titles, chiropractor, PT, you know, masseuse, deep tissue, but you ain't said nothing about diet.
Diets, I do have a chef, and I do have a nutritionist.
Okay.
And they work together.
How does that implement, like, especially when you're traveling? Are they here in Atlanta?
No, they're not.
But do they give you meal prep?
No, it's very hard. It's kind of you're at your own risk at that point. Because again, we're contractors. We're amateur. You don't, you know, yeah, there might be a hotel that the track meet allocates that you should go to. But, I mean, the food's going to be hotel food. So you got to either go find your own food or eat the hotel food. Mm-hmm. And that's where it gets kind of tricky. So that means that you have to make sure that your diet is good leading up to those days. My nutritionist believes you're allowed to have 4 cheat meals a week. Now, breakfast is a meal.
Cheat meals?
Cheat meals. You know, something that's not on the dietary plan, something that's not hitting everything. So my meals usually consist of vegetables will be the biggest thing. Then it'll be the protein. And then it might be a carb. But the carb will be something like jasmine rice, or it might be another vegetable. It's you know, roasted potatoes, something like that. Mm-hmm. It's very rarely bread. But that's, you know, how I eat throughout the year. So by the time I've got this good body, I've been putting good stuff into it. By the time I get to a track meet and I have to be there for 3 days, I mean, 3 days of not so okay eating is not really going to kill me.
You don't eat bread?
I do eat bread, just not in the meal, not in my big meals, not in my lunch and dinners.
So let's count them. So you got breakfast, yep. That's a meal. Lunch is a meal.
Yeah, dinner is a meal.
Dinner's a meal.
Now there might be some snacks in there.
Is that considered a meal?
Not really. That's more of a snack.
Okay.
But you can't control what you snack on. So let's say, no, I'm getting real
Let's
nitty
go.
gritty.
Let's go, bro. I'm the student right now.
I told my nutritionist, I feel like I'm not getting enough carbs throughout the day.
Because you're hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry between meals because I'm working out really hard.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, well, what have you been eating so far? Oh, I love a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, that's not bad, but it could be better.
Hold up. It's about to tell me everything I need to know about you. Don't take me off.
All right.
What jelly?
I like all jellies. I like strawberry and grape.
But what's your go-to?
I'll eat both. That's the thing. Like Uncrustables, I'll smash some Uncrustables.
Yeah, love it.
And
I will go to the gas station and get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I think it's, for a person, and there hasn't been a few, they've all kind of been on the West Coast. I don't eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We do peanut butter and honey. Yeah.
No. Peanut butter and jelly is one of the greatest combinations ever known to man.
Ever.
Right next to peanut butter and chocolate. Okay.
Peanut butter jelly? That's like...
That's crazy.
Bro, not real talk.
Peanut butter and chocolate, man? You ain't... Which one do you not like?
Talking about Reese's?
It doesn't have to be Reese's.
Okay.
Reese's is just the most popular one.
All right.
It doesn't have to be Reese's.
Give me a chocolate and a peanut butter combo outside of Reese's.
Man, you ever had the Girl Scout version?
The Samoas?
No.
Did I say that right?
That is the right one, but that's chocolate and coconut. This one is.
And I don't even really like coconut. Like
they put like they have a peanut butter and they
what color is it?
It's brown.
Is it red?
No, it's brown. The box. What color is the box? I can't remember what the color of the box is.
My boxes is purple.
Yep, Samoas.
Green and blue. Them butter cookies.
What are the truffle oils?
Them butter cookies.
Truffle oils. Yeah, those are my two favorites.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to being friends. There you go, bro. We back to being friends.
Right. It's always, I'm always intrigued, especially, just to find like the edge. You know what I'm saying? Or what is an athlete's edge?
Yeah.
Somebody just asked, especially with the playoffs basketball going on right now, and I'm like, I don't really have a favorite team. I know what it's like and the level of discipline that you have to implement as an athlete day after day after day and stack days. And that's tough, that's hard. So I don't have no villains in, sports, because everybody has, in some way, shape, form, some more than others, have made that conscientious effort that, hey, I'm doing this. And in order to do this, I have to sacrifice this. You know what I'm saying? So.
No, I agree. And it's funny that you bring that up because, when you came and visit me, I was watching the WWE.
Yeah.
I was telling you I was watching the Vince McMahon documentary. And the reason I originally watched that is because I believe I could find something in almost everything and find a way to incorporate that into what I do to some degree. And
that was a great documentary too.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
No, definitely.
But one of the things that I took was how they play the heel and the baby face, or the good guy
and the bad
versus the bad guy.
And they stay in it.
And they're very good at it. And people know it's for show, but they love the story. And the story is engaging. So why wouldn't you get into it? And it's hard because there was a point in 2024 where people were trying to mask me as a villain because I talked too much. I was too confident. And the fact that I was winning on top of that. And there was a point where, again, what's 10,000 to 7 billion, I was listening to that 10,000. And I was like, why am I letting this affect me? Why am I letting this get to me? And watching that, I was like, people want the story. They enjoy the story. If they want to paint that picture, that only means that they're enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be so hurt that they're enjoying it so much.
Yeah. Bro, like you're definitely a person that, I say it, the sport needs more. You know what I mean? Because like it's fun to watch. Like whether if you like Noah, you're gonna want to see him win. If you hate him, you want to see him lose. But we still watching.
You still watching.
You know what I'm saying?
Love me or hate me.
You did.
You still watched.
Is preparing for a track meet different than preparing for the Olympics?
Preparing for the Olympics is I'd say, year and a half event. Preparing for a track meet sometimes can feel like just another goal that you're checking off as you're gaining up momentum to the Olympics. So yes, they are very different.
It's what's that? Have you what is it? Have you given yourself an alter ego as you prepare or as you're at the event?
Oh yeah.
Who is that?
I couldn't tell you what his name is. I think people just know him as
Describe
Noah
him.
now. He's almost anti-villain like. It's like he plays on the edge. He likes to enjoy the crowd. He's definitely a showman.
A showman. Okay, I got a showman. So, are you describing a wrestler?
I would describe him very close to a wrestler.
Okay.
For sure. Because he knows what the crowd is looking for. He knows how to get them engaged, but he also knows how to make a show happen. So even if he loses, he wins. And when he wins, it's more to the story.
What is the playlist like as you're preparing?
Oof.
Talk to me.
I'm almost embarrassed to say this now just because of the situation that's been going on, but my playlist is a mashed up compilation of Travis Scott concerts and Kanye West concerts.
Okay. Some would say that you're the sports version of Kanye.
I would have taken that as a compliment 10 years ago. It's so...
But do you see where that
I do see where... Because I do like Kanye, or at least I liked what
Did you see Genius?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I definitely saw Genius. Which is crazy because I knew...
Was it Genius?
Yes,
or
yes.
Jesus?
No, it was Genius. It was a play on the word genius, but he spelled it a little weird. I'm a Kanye fan. Trust me.
I apologize.
I know this one, man.
Yeah. Okay, so even...
Before that, yeah, I knew a lot of stuff from that documentary because, again, he's an innovator. He's a creator. He definitely got ADD.
No, I'm there. You're talking about definitely need to watch it.
Kanye got ADD.
Oh, yes, but I'm saying what documentary is going to say about Travis Scott?
Travis. No, I wasn't going to talk about
Have you seen Mama We Can Fly?
I have.
Oh, Mama.
I have. Again, I'm a big Travis.
He's an unbelievable performer.
He's an unbelievable performer, and I like people who can perform. And again, when I talk about things that I can take and add to my stuff, I was watching, one of his concerts, and one of his concerts, he's singing Goosebumps, and he gets to the end of the song. Exactly. Right. But he gets to the end of the song, and everybody's, it looks like he's gonna end it. Like he's gonna, that's gonna be it. And it's like, okay, that was a good ending. And all of a sudden he just comes out and he's like, oh. And this crowd just starts going back to him. And it was at that moment, if you tell people what to do, they'll react back. So I decided to test it out. I go to a track meet, and which was it? If you've ever, watched Queen, when they played at, was it Aid, something Aid? Oh gosh, it was basically their last performance together. And he yells, "Ayo, ayo." I start yelling that to the crowd, and they just start repeating it back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this works. And the fear on my opponent's face, knowing that I had the crowd in the palm of my hand, it was like, this wasn't no longer a track. This was now my stage. You are now entering my domain.
Bro, you got to name that person, bro. It's only right. It's only right. Like, bro, you got to name him. It's like you go into like Boa or like
No, he would have a completely different name or something like. I don't know. I'll find it. I'll find his name one of these days.
Dopey. As you're talking about names, I'm curious to know about Nojo. Nojo 18, right? For the people who don't know, not only is he the world's fastest man, he also is a musical artist.
Yeah. I was actually just making music a few days ago with my friend. But yeah, I got into music because I've always been into music. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I loved about it is, one, it's another form of expressing creativity. Mm-hmm. And for a while, I was into poems. I like to make poems. But then I, again, love to tell stories. And sometimes it's better to have the music element. It's better to have sound effects. Putting all these things together and actually making a product makes it fun. And, when I was going through the journey, I was just like, oh, I have this nickname that I barely used to use called Nojo. And the reason I have it even is because the first two letters of my first name is N-O, and the second two letters of my middle name is J-O. A lot of people think it's actually for my brother. No, because his name starts with J-O. But no, it was for me. So I just put Nojo together.
I thought it was like, yo, Nojo, Flojo, track.
Nah. No, I made a bar with that in it, but yeah, no.
So what genre of music is it?
I'd say it's definitely hip hop. It's definitely hip hop for sure. But I'd say it's a lot more emotional, more than bragging. Like, of course, I have the songs that I've made that are just bragging, and those are fun. Yeah. But the ones that I love to do is the way more emotional stories, because that's why I actually got into it.
Right. So, as you're creating music, do you freestyle? Do you write? Do you
you can do both. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it can be the song. Like, I feel the craziest thing in the world is you'll start going through samples and beats, and all of a sudden you're just like start hearing words in the instrumental. If they're not fully formed words, that's your job. Mm-hmm. But you can literally hear it. It's just like, oh, I feel like there's a certain cadence and a certain rhythm, and there's certain words that just have to go with this instrumental. And sometimes I'll already have like something ready for it, and I'll be like, oh, this goes well with something I was writing earlier. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes it's like, no, I need to start something new. And you just get on the flow. And sometimes it could take as fast as like 30 minutes to an hour, and sometimes it might take 5 months.
Yeah. Like, as you're going through these things, are you musically inclined? Like, do you know how to play an instrument?
Nope.
What drew you into making music, though? Like, there's the poems, there's this, there's that, but when you was like, you know what,
I'd say that I'm a creator at heart. Yeah. In everything I do, I want to be a creator. Mm-hmm. So whether that's running and seeing the creation process of going from no training to the best in the world, or from going to the Olympics and putting on this immaculate performance and having the crowd engage with you and seeing, oh, this is the end result, or whether that's looking at a fashion show and being like, hey, it went from figuring out the models, the clothes, to putting the pictures together, and then going out there and walking in a certain demeanor and having a certain mood. Or even just saying, hey, I have this concept for a song. I have this feeling that I want to get out, and I want to have other things that enforce that feeling. So, it's very hard for you to choose a happy beat and do a dark, brooding song. Like, that's not going to get the concept. Yeah. Like, people aren't going to understand. They're like, well, how am I supposed to feel about this? Yeah. So you got to put the right pieces, and that's creation. Yeah. Now, I love creating things.
We're going to talk about fashion in a second, but I think I missed one of the questions that I wanted to ask most. As a track and field athlete, you guys travel a lot.
Traveling circus.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I think.
What are some of the things or the things that you look forward to while traveling? Are you a foodie? Or are you a museum person? Or is it just tapping into different cultures and fans and that?
It depends where we're going. Sometimes it's just getting excited about seeing some of your teammates or friends that you haven't seen in years. Like there's some people I don't see because they live in Africa. Like I was talking about Akane Simbine. I know I'm going to see him this year. Actually, he's probably going to be at this track meet. And he flew over here. But sometimes I'm flying over there. And it's like, hey, man, we haven't seen each other since World Championships, the Olympics, since the last track meet 3 months ago. Like, it's good to see you. How you been? Like, you've been doing so well. Like, we're actually friends. It's fun to interact. And then sometimes, it's, I always have the best time. Like, we'll go to Monaco. I love going to Monaco because I love to shop. Yeah. So, I'll go shop. I'll just have one day allocated to just shopping. And of course, we'll go, and they have a great crowd there. And then there's sometimes I'll go to a place, I know the crowd is always going to be amazing. Like, every time I go to Eugene, Oregon, it's going to be amazing. They love track and field, and it's in the U.S. So they're always going to be interactive. They always want to see a good performance. The competition is going to be good. All of that mixed together. Now, you mentioned going to museums. We don't get enough time to go out and sightsee a lot. Like I was saying, when I go to Monaco, I like to shop. I have to force that. Usually, we have a track meet in Paris almost every year. When I go there, I'm there for like 4 days in total. And one of those days is getting there, and the other day is leaving. That means I'm really there for 2 days, full. I have to train. I have to get worked on, sleep, get ready to run the next day. So sometimes you just don't got time. I remember I went to Rome, and my mom and sister went to go see the Colosseum, and
you couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. I had to run. There was another time when they went to the Louvre, and I had like 30 minutes of free time, and I ran through the Louvre to catch up with them, only to see the Mona Lisa for like 5 minutes to hear.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah. The Louvre is now closing. Okay.
That's nuts. It's tough, bro. Some would think like as you're traveling so many different places, you get to see a lot. But
if you force it, yeah. But sometimes you don't got that time. We're on business.
For sure.
We're on business.
But that's also a sacrifice. What do you like when you say your friends in track? And once again, this is just the narrative in my mind. It's like, do y'all go out? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But then like if you're on a strict nutrition plan, like.
Oh wait, what do you mean by go out?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
what was your? Oh, okay.
When y'all hang out, it's hard for me to see a natural friendship in my eye, like how my brain is wired to say like track friends are friends outside of track. What do y'all do outside of track? Like if as a football player, it's like, yeah, bro, we gonna get something to eat. We, pull up to the crib, we'll eat. Hey, we go out.
Yeah. We do the exact same things. Like,
in season though?
Sometimes, yeah. We're in season right now. I am, at the end of the season, I always throw this big end of year event where we go to Miami and just go out for a weekend and just enjoy that we, made it through. But sometimes, we'll have game nights at my house. I'll invite most of my track group and some other track groups because we live in an area where there's a lot of track and field athletes. And it's like, hey, let's just play games, just enjoy the night. It's a Saturday night or it's a Friday night. We ain't got nowhere to be. We don't got to practice the next day. Let's just enjoy what we got. And we'll just, play board games, have fun, listen to music, have good conversations, stuff like that. Or sometimes I'm like, hey, we've been here too long. Guys, we live in Orlando. Let's freaking go to Universal. Let's go ride some roller coasters. It doesn't have to always just be so centered on track. And, sometimes we'll be out in different countries. Something I love to do. I love to eat in Nobu. Nobu. Exactly. So one of the coolest things is going to another country and experiencing their Nobu. So I'll be like, hey, I'll grab some of my friends. It's like, hey, let's all go celebrate the track meet by going to dinner at Nobu. We already raced. We need to eat. Yeah. So let's go enjoy the night, And, we'll get back to the hotel and probably pass out and wake up early in the morning and go catch a flight.
Yeah. So as you was talking about how athletes or track athletes make money, I'm looking at your contract list. Do not allow me to miss any. You got Adidas, Omega, Comcast, Celsius, and Visa. Any other ones?
Well, I have to actually explain how that works.
Talk to me.
Most of those are only contracts during the Olympic year. So Comcast, Visa, and Celsius, all contracts that happened during 2024. See, now we're about to go into the discussion of the Olympics. The Olympics is making a butt ton of money. The IOC, Olympic Committee, they control who gets to be an Olympic sponsor. When I put on my jersey for the Olympics, now I am a part of the 40-day rule. 40 days before and 40 days after the Olympics, the only people who can monetarily put me out as a sponsor is somebody who's been there before the 40 days or somebody I've signed a contract that has an Olympic sponsor.
That is.
So Comcast only signs me during the Olympic year so that they have the right when the Olympics come to post about me. Adidas, who I've been with for 9 years, cannot post me saying, congratulations, Noah, on winning the Olympics. Because then they'd be in breach of contract with the IOC.
Dang. So, all right.
You want an Olympic medal now?
No. I don't want that. I did not want that. It would be cool to have, to see, but it's those things that you don't know unless you actually know.
And that's the crazy. So Celsius actually isn't an Olympic sponsor. So I signed a 1-year deal with Celsius.
Okay.
And I said, okay, this is probably going to turn into a multi-year deal just because, I'm very popular. I've, done this Netflix show. I've won. Obviously, they're going to want to, do more things. They didn't even want to match me for 2025. I'm saying, what? I won and you want to pay me less?
Yeah, probably budget cuts.
See, that's the thing. Guess who they picked up? They didn't want to tell me, but guess who they picked up?
Who?
Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton ain't cheap.
We gotta start. You say you want some more potatoes? We gotta take some off that plate to put it on that.
But I've already worked so hard to prove my worth. I'm not gonna go back down.
So I'll give you another example. And talk to me about in your fellow Adidas community. Do you have any quarrel beef with Anthony Edwards?
No, I mean we've never well, we actually haven't. We met at the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Okay. I know what you're referring to, though.
Yes.
So you're referring to the article that came out in the Times Magazine.
Yes.
I'm gonna give two parts to the story. In 2023, Adidas asked me to come out for a shoe signing. It didn't work because I was doing a fashion walk with Hugo Boss, and there's no way I was going to be able to make it back to be able to do that. Didn't show up. Then I had been discussing my own new contract with Adidas, and what I wanted to be in there was a shoe, because I said, Anthony Edwards has a shoe, and I'm already a 6-time world champion, and I'm prophesying that I'm going to be the Olympic champion. Mm-hmm. I believe I've done enough to prove that my worth is, given a signature shoe, or at least having the conversation of it. They said that's not their department, yada, 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 dancing around the conversation. At the time, I was frustrated with them, still am, but that's another story, about how they didn't even want to have the conversation of it. And the point that I wanted to show America, leading off of that world champions of what, is this is the difference of how we track and field athletes are treated in the US. We've come back with world championships, Olympic golds. We're seen by the world. They don't even want to entertain the conversation of having a shoe.
Have you ever thought about going to a USA brand
here we go.
You know what I'm saying? Like where did D Wade sign with?
I'm not familiar with.
But it's a basketball shoe company that is not, based in the
in
United
track
States.
in the U.S.
Li Ning.
Okay.
Right? So Li Ning made Dwayne Wade, amongst other athletes, like their Mount Rushmore, right? And you would think like, yo, D Wade's American, why not Nike? Why not Adidas? Why not Under Armour? Why not, Reebok or, whatever? But he went that way, and I believe he's still that way amongst other players too. But for you having that issue, if your popularity is in Europe, why not look for a Europe company?
Well, Adidas is Europe. They're German.
Silly me. But
I know where you're going.
It's like, if you're having an issue with one, why not go where you're wanted?
So I'm going to take this in two parts. I'm going to handle I'm assuming you're referring to why not move to a Nike or somebody else?
Or somewhere that...
Or just somewhere that's just outside of the world. Okay, let's do that one. Now that because I have thought about this for a long time. If I leave, I'm giving up the advantage of product. I need spikes to run in. Adidas makes some of the best spikes in the world. I need trainers to run in. There are rules, and by the governing body of track and field, that you have to be okayed by these brands. So the shoe companies know that. So they know that you're going to have to come back to them. We have 360 deals in track and field. Rappers talk about them all the time.
I'm familiar.
They get everything. They get my casual clothes. They get sunglasses, headphones.
Now you're a walking billboard. Underwear, socks. Sometimes I got to fight for deodorant. Like, things that you would think that wouldn't be in their category is all towards them. So those are the only deals they want to talk about. They don't want to talk about, if you go with a company, like let's say Verizon wanted to sponsor me. And Verizon wants to pay me a ton of money. They don't want to have that conversation of just, we'll just give you some clothes and some spikes and you'll be on your way. Because that's a lot easier in a league where you're going to get your jersey and you're going to make sure you get the best training equipment. My training group is an Adidas-only training group. If I'm not an Adidas athlete, I can't even train there. I would lose my coach that I've been with for 9 years. That's helped me coach, that's coached me to 6 world championships, the third fastest man I'm assuming Adidas pays him then.
Adidas does pay him.
Okay, cool.
And there are and most of the best coaches are like that. Another coach, there's a Nike coach, who trains Sha'Carri. He's a Nike coach. Only Nike athletes can be with him. There's a few more in Jamaica, and they're Puma coaches and all that. So again, by the time I do get that contract, I'm blacklisting myself almost from the whole sport.
Exclusive, you're exclusive, to them because
to do what I need to do in this sport.
Yeah, to have the necessities for you to be successful. It would be hard for you not to.
It would be almost all that money that I'm probably going to make with Verizon is going to go right back into just being able to do the bare necessity of what I do now.
Apparel,
training groups, gyms.
So you've made it abundantly clear about your like to fashion, and you've walked in New York Fashion Week, One Piece's spring summer collection for Steve
Aoki.
Dimac, right?
That's my boy Steve.
And just for you, how important is style, or what does fashion, give you?
It's another place to create. It's another place for me to be me, for me to show my personality and show my mood. Sometimes I will not wear certain things because that's not how I feel right now. That's not my mood.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've probably felt the same way.
We there.
If you dark and brooding, it's like, I'm gonna wear clothes that show that. It's gonna be nice, but it's gonna show dark and brooding. Yeah. And if I'm happy and joyous, I'm gonna get creative. I'm gonna wear something wild that they ain't never seen before. Yeah. That's again creativity. at its finest. And it's just another way for me to show that.
Yeah. You were recently at the Met.
Yeah.
How was your experience?
This one, I've been to 2. The first one was kind of out there. I'm not gonna lie. The theme was American colonialism, and I saw some wild stuff. People showing up in like with horse masks on their chests, and I don't know if they cared about the theme. Some people showed up in chains. Some people just showed up in regular tuxedos. Like I don't think they cared about the theme that year.
Right.
I mean, it was at the end of the day. It was okay. It was definitely a place to network.
Yes.
And it was nice. But this one was black.
The dandyism.
This one was black.
Tell me about it.
I'll tell you, we walked in, everybody looked like they were in their Sunday's best. I'm watching, black men show up with crowns on their heads. Of course, they got the nice suit. They dressed to the nines. They got the rings on. They flaring out. I'm like, okay, this is nice.
Did you have a fanboy experience?
I wouldn't say I had a fanboy experience.
Who
I
did
would
you
definitely
want to
say it was like, oh shoot, that's such and so.
Yeah.
I remember Tyler Perry came around the corner, and I'm like, I did not realize because I never met him in person, obviously, how tall Tyler Perry was. I'm like, goodness gracious.
Madea big as I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, you dressing as a female?
I seen him.
Like
I seen
this?
him a couple times.
Oh my gosh,
For sure.
How you doing that to these people?
Yeah.
And you acting with the females. I'm like, you making the females look like they Simone Biles,
No, for sure. He's definitely and swaggy too. My dad. I've never seen him, not put together. But when you got that much money, he putting it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, it was funny because all the hosts, for the Met Gala had to shake everybody's hands, and I was like, "Ooh, thank God I'm not a host this year." But it was funny because I'm going down the list and I'm shaking everybody's hands, and the wildest thing was happening. I shook Anna Winter's hand, and she's like, "Yes, I remember you because we met at the U.S. Open," and I'm over here like, I never thought the woman who was dictating fashion would know my name, let alone remember where we met.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to Lewis, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, we met, and your
took
friends."
My money.
Nah, he earned that, man. Yeah. He earned that, but he's like, "Yeah, we met at the U.S. Open, and you know my boy Miles," and I'm like, "Yeah.
You know Miles?
Yeah.
The fencer?
Yeah.
Wow,
bro, he gave me one of his chains, bro. He gave me one of his Olympic chains.
Bro,
Miles is cool.
Miles is definitely that guy.
He knows everybody. I don't know how he knows everybody, but he knows everybody.
Bro, and no, I'm not just on the scene, off the scene.
Yes.
He know where to go. Boy, you get him in it, bro.
He knows what's popping.
What's not. No, you don't want to do that. That's sweaty. You don't want that. Yeah. You want to be over here.
No, Miles is legit. But yeah, we ended up talking, and then Miles was there, so we all, had a conversation real quick. Then I go to Pharrell, and it was crazy because I was just watched your movie and I met him at the GQ Man of the Year, like in February, January, and I met him and his wife, and then we meet again. It's like, wow, okay, again, I didn't think I'd be knowing this many people, and then I go to ASAP. Now we had never met in person, but he was very familiar of me, and I just did a photo shoot with his cousin, ASAP Nast. And, here we are talking about it. I'm like, how the heck am I talking and knowing all these people? And again, making all these connections. Like, this is not what I thought of myself when I was on the table for asthma on the breathing machine thinking, am I going to be able to play sports? And then I finally get to, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Well, Coleman Domingo. There it is. Coleman Domingo. I go up and shake his hand, and we recall when we met the last time, and how he took the picture with my mom, and he was like, "You're very fashionable," and we were, just chopping it up. And when I get to him, I'm like, "Yo, it's so great to see you, and I love how you, look at where you're at, And he's looking at me. He's like, "Look at me, look at you. When I saw your name on the list, I told Anna that you need to be there." And I'm like, "What? That's crazy." Like you never know what God's doing in the background.
That's facts.
Like God over here plotting on you to be in positions that he wants to take you, and you don't even know. And we had one interaction, and we were just very casual. And here he is, fighting for me to be at the Met Gala. And before that, I wasn't an Olympic champion. I don't even know if he knew who I was. But he was fighting for me to be there in that moment because he saw something and he's like, you need to be a part of it.
I like that. Explain these fashion additions. Explain the reasoning behind the signature pearls.
I don't know. I just liked them. It was different. So many. We have a deep rootedness in chains in the Black community. Chains, rings, diamonds, gold. Why not pearls? It's different. Pearls is a very valuable thing. It's naturally made. You gotta hope that there's a clam out there who's just decided that he's gonna build up this one material, and then when a human goes to grab them, and open, it's gonna be there. That's precious, and it pops. And I'm like, you know what? Everybody does chains. Everybody does gold links. I'm gonna do pearls.
Why the nails?
To be honest, again, it was just something different. It's something exciting. And I'm not afraid of my masculinity. Nor do I believe that somebody calling me less masculine is going to change the fact of who I am.
Why the color white?
This is actually pearl. This is from the Met Gala. These are still nails left on from the Met Gala. And I was like, I'm just not going to get rid of them.
What's your rules? What's your rules with the nails though? Like, if one chip, they all go? Is it?
So I used to bite my nails. I don't anymore. But yes, if one chips, I'm going to start picking at it. And it's like, well, can't have one nail that's just gone. So get rid of the whole thing.
Is there a fashion trend that you did not like or?
I'm not a fan of sagging pants. That's it. Other than that, I don't care. Because I believe it's how people express themselves.
Yeah.
Now, I might say, I'm not going to try and wear that. But I'm never just going to be like, yeah, that's horrible. Don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Like, that's the stupidest thing in the world. Maybe they're wearing it in that fashion because that's how they feel or that's how it makes them feel.
Is there a fashion brand that you have not worked with that you want to or be sponsored by?
There's tons of brands that I haven't worked with that I probably would want to. I've actually been I met Mike Amiri.
Mike Amiri.
Yeah, at the GQ Man of the Year event, and we ended up trading contacts, and we've been kind of working on projects or things that we could do in the future. I like his style a lot. It's very weird because now that I'm starting to enter the fashion world little by little, I'm learning that it's not so much about the brand, but who is pushing the brand, who's the lead designer. Because you can like a brand, but if the lead designer has a certain way that they're taking the brand, you might not like that. I'll give Pharrell, I feel is a great example. I really love Pharrell's style. He's creative. He's, will try to do whatever he wants to do. It's not always what other people wants to do, and he's not afraid to get a little risky. And when he brought in the cowboy look, I felt like that was such a perfect starting place. Because what a lot of people don't know is that cowboys were black. But it's been taken over by Hollywood that they were generally white. But guess what the work was that cowboys actually did? It was cleaning up the pits of the farm animals and the poop and cleaning the barns and all this stuff. And this was during early, late 1800s, mid 1800s, and early 1900s. You gonna tell me a white man was doing that?
Man,
come on, we saw Sinners.
Did you see Harder They Fall though?
No, I did not.
Oh my goodness, you tripping.
It's on my list though. It's on my list.
No, this is a stop what you're doing, watch this type of movie.
I was just informed of the movie as I was doing research for Sinners.
I ain't no nim kaput.
I'm sorry, I don't get that.
You wouldn't.
Next time we meet. Next time we meet.
Definitely. Talk to me about you and your fiance, man. Like that's something that you.
Janelle.
Yeah, that's your happy place.
Oh man, me and Janelle have a long relationship because a lot of it was through on again, off again friendships. She slid into my DMs.
No way.
And she claims she wasn't looking for love. But I'm gonna be honest, you don't just slide into somebody's DMs
come on, brother.
for no reason.
Come on, sister. Come on, you know what you was
and
sliding.
look at where we are now. Come on.
You know where you were sliding.
You knew what you was doing.
You know it was bumpy in them sitting.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was very distant at first. I was like, I don't really know you. Of course she's in the track world, but it's like I don't really
she
know
run
you.
track?
I don't know. Yeah. She's a two-time Olympian.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Olympic medalist, world championship medalist.
Y'all been running straight to love, ain't you?
Well, the thing, it took 9 years because we met, or she slid in 2017, but we didn't start dating until 2022.
Who said I love you first?
I did.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna be honest, but I don't know, she might have put a spell on me or something. When we was talking as friends, this is back in 2018, she's like, I bet you gonna be my husband. What? And see, I have a thing about that. I don't like people to tell me what I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't, but I really that's one of my triggers. Somebody tells me what to do, it's like, ooh, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But if you suggest or ask me to do something, I'm very willing. But yeah, in that moment, she's like, you're gonna be my husband. So I was very yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, buddy.
Give me the story behind, how you proposed.
So she was determined that she was not going to be surprised when I proposed to her. She's like, yeah, I know. I'm a no. You can't keep a secret. So, my competitive nature had come out. I'm like, oh, you know. Okay. Bet. I had turned my end of season weekend party into the proposal. So the whole time I'm inviting guests, but she's only been once or twice. So she doesn't know how these usually go. So I'm inviting guests. It's like, all right, this is my friends. And she's like, oh yeah, these are your friends. She's like, well, can we invite some of mine? I mean, it's kind of my thing, but I guess we can invite some of your friends. They already been invited. They got invited 3 months ago.
Wait, you knew 3 months?
No.
When did you know?
When I knew when we were going to get married, 6 months into the relationship.
What?
Yeah.
Dang.
Again, we had been friends for 7 years before that. I knew.
What? Okay. What were some of the signs?
I think one of the strongest signs was one day she came to me and she's like, yeah, that's why I don't get caught up in your track persona. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, that track, what you do at track meets, that's for the enjoyment of whatever everybody else sees. That's not the guy I fell in love with. The guy I fell in love with was the person who's at home, who's not as loud and rambunctious, but at the same time has his own thoughts and opinions. That's the guy that I like. I don't get caught up in that other guy. And I was like, oh shit, she done figure me out. Okay. Yeah, this the one.
Wow.
And the fact that, I'm a true believer that God gives you signs. I got into a relationship over COVID and we stopped talking because I was respecting the relationship because we had chemistry. But this is the person that I was in the relationship and I was going to give my everything to that person. So we were not friends. We didn't talk. We didn't text.
With a separate person?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was in a relationship. I was in a relationship. We didn't talk. We didn't text. We didn't even know if we were going to be friends again. I broke up and somehow we found ourselves back again as friends. And
was she still in a relationship?
She was coming out of a relationship.
Now, what are those signs? It's like,
It was very shocking to hear that she was coming out of a relationship at the same time as me. We also, over the 7-year period of friendship, had only met in person 3 times.
Wow.
because she lived in Jamaica. I lived in Florida. She was also running track, so she had to train. I had to train. We had one time where we met outside of a track meet and 2 times where we met at a track meet. And I was like,
she was probably
every
looking
time
at her situation.
Exactly.
Like, oh, he ready? Hey, I appreciate everything that you done did.
Nah.
But that over there, I gotta go tend to that. So I gotta make myself available. No hard feelings, but
no, it wasn't like that. But it sounds like that, but it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like there's no reason that we should be meeting this often. I just constantly felt that God was just like pushing us closer and closer together. And I was like, all right, God, I'm gonna ask her to be my girlfriend. We're gonna date for 3 months. If this goes well, then we're gonna continue. If it doesn't, we're gonna go back to being friends. I asked her to be my girlfriend. I gave her the idea, let's try this 3-month trial out.
Did you go to Jamaica or she came to?
She actually ended up moving to the U.S.
Okay.
For track. So not for me, for track. And the 3 months went great. And I was like, all right. And then 3 months later, we're dating and I'm like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
And then how long after that until?
It took another 1.5 years. So that was, I knew she was the one in 2023 of January, but I didn't propose to her until 2024 in November.
Asking a girl to be your girlfriend, is that?
It's a long story. It doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore.
I don't think I asked my girl. We just was around each other.
So are you really dating?
Let somebody tell it, man. Y'all ain't even together because y'all ain't met.
No. Are you really dating though?
What do you mean dating?
I mean, you tell me. Are you guys together? Are you guys exclusive? You didn't ask.
Yeah, but even in that realm of saying, hey, I want you to be my girlfriend, or I want you to be my boyfriend. Like, it was already understood. Shouldn't be.
Was it understood?
I think if you live with a person, like you're.
You know what we're doing a lot of?
What?
Assuming.
And you know what to assume. Yeah, I'm familiar.
We're doing a lot of assuming. Of course, I'm sure you guys have worked it out now, but why even assume? Why give it up to an assumption, to a thought? Why not make it definitive? Why not let her know this is what I want?
I've said that numerous times.
And put a label on it.
And we'll keep. No, I've made it abundantly clear. I want to be with you. No, you're not going. No, smother me, cover me.
Now, hang on. Are you telling her what you want and making it sound good? Or are you just plain out telling her?
Oh, see, the old me? The finesse?
We're going to be together.
Yeah, no, we locked in.
Okay.
No, we're locked in. But I'd be damned if somebody else tells me what I need to do to be locked in. That's not what's going to happen. You know how you say, like, you're going to tell me what
yeah, no.
Yeah, it's because...
But that's why it's an ask.
I didn't need no ask. I knew who I belonged to. You know what I'm saying?
Who's the ask for?
I don't know who it's for.
It's for her.
Is it though?
It's for her. I mean, it's for both of you, but it's also for her.
But who told us that?
Why would you let her have to assume that you guys are together?
You don't have to assume. If you're around a person for so long that you're doing life together, it's no, okay, I'm gonna see you when I see you, and hey, I see you on the weekends. It's like, no. Like, babe, hey, go get me a toothbrush. Matter of fact, don't worry about it. I'll use yours.
I'm gonna run a different way of thinking.
Nice, here we go.
I'm gonna talk to you real nice, real nice, real nice. What if they don't think the same way you think? Or what if their thought process of what is exclusive is different from yours?
Which is a fair question, but all I would ask is this. can you verbalize that to me? Because if I don't know, or if she says like, hey, why didn't you ever ask me to be your boyfriend or girlfriend?
I do agree. But it's both sides too.
That's for sure. But there's too many times in relationships we put our expectations on other people, and we have to stop that. That's in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a football player.
Wait, I feel we're deviating from the topic. What are we putting expectations on? That's related to asking.
Titles versus not titles. Asking and not asking. It's just like, yo, if that's what you want and you feel, not you.
No, I get what you're saying. The person like, that you're trying.
Some people don't care about being asked. It's okay. Can I ask you a question?
I'd love it.
What's more important to you, the title or the feeling?
I'd say it's the understanding.
No, that wasn't a part of the question. You're
right. It's both.
No.
Because you need both.
No. See. I asked the question so funky, bro.
No. We had a conversation earlier where we're gonna be having a conversation. The conversation goes back and forth now.
That is definitely correct. I'll stand down. But
I'm not asking you this. Well, go ahead.
See, that ADD just
I'm asking you to think of it from the other person's point of view.
Yes. And all I would ask the other person is to verbalize when they are skeptical, when they are unsure, when they are questioning, like, hey, are we? That's just never not in my situation.
So I'm now going to assume that in your relationship, you guys had a conversation somewhere in the courting phase about, I don't really care for titles. Would I be correct or wrong in assuming that?
You're wrong.
I'd be wrong. Okay. Yeah. How did that go?
What do you mean?
When you were courting her and it was getting to a point where you guys seemed to be exclusive.
Yeah.
But you said
I just love being around her. Mm-hmm. Like still to this day. Like I genuinely love being around. Right? Because I'm an introvert. Like contrary to what most people would assume, like I like being around the people who I like to be around. Mm-hmm. And if I don't like you, or I don't like you on that type of wavelength that I'm at, I won't be around you. Like, there's a thing that I stand by. Like, every man wants to be by themselves. Oh, hold on. They want to be by themselves, but they don't want to be alone.
What's the TikTok sound? It was like, every man wants you around. We don't want you in the room. We want you like in the air ducts or something. Yeah, like we want to know you here.
Like that's a thing. It's like I want to be by myself, but I don't want to be alone. And that's kind of like where I'm at with it. I don't certain things that will make you oh man, she did that for you. I was like, okay, I don't want my girl to do that for me. Like it's literally like I could go. Now, I'm just giving this hypothetical. There are certain things that don't move me that may move other people. So therefore, there's other things that may move other people that don't move me. Mm-hmm. We all have our own, journey in love or that the thought of that. And if my girl was like, yo, why haven't you, we've just assumed. It was just an understanding. When you're around a person so much, and it was like instant. It wasn't no, not like
how much you guys were together,
bro. It was like I met her on May. What I say May 20th.
Get it right now. Get it right.
You know what I'm saying? Like but it was COVID though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was around the Memorial Day, whatever that day was, and it was just every day. What you doing? What you mean what I'm doing? Why you not around me? Every day. Hey, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Why aren't you around me? Every day. You ain't tired of me yet? You ain't tired of me yet? Nope, every day. And that's just what it was. And when you think about it, you're like, dang, we done been together a long period of time for a year. It's like, it's crazy? I just recently did a show last year this time. Special Forces. That was the first time I've ever been away from my girl for that long. Like it's probably 3 days, 4 days. that it's like we tried to do the numbers collectively at one particular point of our relationship, and I believe it was like 2 years. Collectively, us being apart did not surpass a week. Like she'll go home and then she'll come back. I would go on and then I'll come back. It was, it's just what it is.
That's interesting. No, that's also listening to you explain this. I feel is how people act when me and Janelle talk. It's exciting to see love.
Yeah, it is.
Wait, what did they say? I love love.
Yeah, that's cute. But that's not I'm masculine, but it's still a cute thing to kind of.
You can enjoy love.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a feeling.
For sure.
That you would expect that.
I'm just happy for people to be happy. And that's the thing, right? We're asking questions in a very strategic and way to try to get a person to think this way. But it all comes down to this. Are you happy?
Oh, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're happy and I'm happy, whatever you want to call it or not call it, it's for you. Yeah. Right? We're living in the day. Like, did you put it down? You ain't got y'all ain't.
If you both have an understanding, that's the most important part.
Because what we've learned in society is, I would assume, here we go with assuming again, but the ultimate goal for love, some would think, is marriage. But I even will ask that question again, even if you are married, are you happy?
Well, I've seen a lot of
you see what
a lot of things that would go against that ideology.
You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that's like, are you happy though? Like if you're married and happy, cool. But if you're just together and happy, cool. If you happy without being together, cool. Yeah. I just want you to be happy. Yeah. That's it. You were speaking about something that you were the lost art of asking a person to
courting and dating. Yeah. Like our conversation was going earlier, there usually will be a point where, you like a girl, you go on a few dates, you might decide, I don't know if this one will be the one. I might go on a few other dates. I'm going to say during my parents' time, that was very normal for people to just go on dates. Now, of course, this is assuming that you're not going and having sex with all these people you're going on dates with. and kissing everybody you're going on dates with.
And telling.
Because I feel like that becomes a whole different mess. But if you're going on dates, you're getting to know people, you're trying to find out who your person is, that's courting. That's courting. And that area right there is, I feel, pretty lost in our society. A lot of people want to go straight to, I went on a date with this person, so we have to be exclusive. It's like, well, why do you assume that? And that's where assuming and, asking out someone to be their girlfriend does get important. At least in this generation that I'm living in, I see a lot of people who will go like, oh yeah, we're dating. Did they ever ask you to become exclusive? Yeah. Well, no. And then, later on I'm hearing, he cheated on me with another girl. Well, were you guys ever together? Well, he never asked me. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm going to put the lamp under the guy at the same time, be like, hey, you can't be doing this, man.
Yeah, you can't. I would.
You leading on.
I would tell anybody who's in a relationship, lead with communication. Like, there's no right and wrong or descriptive, but communication. And for me, I tease my girl because I led with the demons in the closet.
Good night.
Like
not the skeletons, but the demons.
I led with the demons. Then the skeletons followed, and then it was just like, oh yeah, by the way, I have a lot. God has blessed me a lot. But it's one of those things. It's like, are you getting to really know me? And you can't tell me, right? Like, I love you so much. Like, no, I got to. Love to me is not a word. It's an action. Like, don't tell me you love. Like, I need to see it. I gotta show me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm that type of person. Like words of affirmation for me, it goes in one ear and out the other. Like I'm the type of like, how's your day? All right, what you need from me? Matter of fact, don't even worry about it. Boom. Coffee, boom. That AR.
Acts of service.
Just show up. Even when you ain't even, just, hey, who got me lunch? Dad, you know what I'm saying? It's just, but we're all different.
Yeah, we are.
You know? I'm done with that. Unless you got some more to talk about.
No, I've enjoyed that. I'm ready to move on to the next chapter, but I've enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah. Let's talk about the question of the day. All right, this question
of the day
is typically forces people to have more than a one-word answer. It's typically,
Is that a challenge?
Yeah.
Oh, you want a one-word answer?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
There shouldn't be a challenge, not with me and you. But it's to provoke thought and, get people riled up, so to speak. So the question is, if you could build your own mixed 4x4 team for the Olympics, who would be on your relay team?
You know what's so crazy? I don't like mixed relays. Then I'm not a fan. I don't enjoy the idea of watching a female or male get hawked down by another female or male, which is that crazy because they ended up changing the rules so that you have to put specific genders at specific legs for that reason.
So they would blend it
At first.
like it was just it could be Noah, girl, guy. But now if
But the other
Noah's
team
first,
could do something else.
yeah, Noah, all the boys have to be on the first leg, then
Yeah.
the second.
Yeah. Now it's what is it? It's either I can't remember who ends it, but it alternates. It's like male, female, male, female. Yeah, it's different. Gosh, we're talking about 4x4
Anything.
because they just created the mixed 4x1.
Talk to me. Talk to
So
me.
they just had World Relays last weekend, and it was the first time they ever did it. Yeah. Who would if I was to do that one? All right, I think the order that they have now is female, female, male, male. So we need a great starter. Gosh, who? Is this USA only? Can I only do people in my country?
I really want to go, man. You got a blank check. You can go
Blank check.
anywhere, bro.
Carmelita-
And I will honestly say, just for the sake of, bro, retired, unretired.
Oh yeah, okay, good. Carmelita Jeter on the first leg. To Flojo. No. I'm gonna give it to Sha'Carri on the. Oh wait, can you change a second? No, I'm gonna give it to Sha'Carri on the second leg.
Straight ahead.
Yeah.
No, hold on.
She'll be
the 4x1.
4x1.
Yes,
yeah. So it'll go turn first.
Yeah.
That'll be Carmelita Jeter. Second leg will be Sha'Carri. Third leg will be Tyson Gay, and then I'll be last leg.
No, you saying?
What are you talking about? You said the U.S.
No, you can go.
Any and everything?
Well, we know that's the American now, but
Okay. Any and everything.
just
Christian Coleman will be first leg. I'll be second. Johan Blake will be third, and Bolt will be last.
no Michael Johnson.
He's not a 100-meter runner.
What is he?
He's a 200, 400.
Shows you how much I know.
It's all right. You learned something new today.
I did.
He
I
actually,
did.
the event was so explosive that he actually stopped having to do the 100 because he would injure himself.
What? How is that even?
Well, he was a 200-meter, 400-meter runner. Those body types are different. One requires a little more muscle, a lot more dynamic, explosive movements very quickly. If you aren't training your body to do that, and you try to do that, you hurt yourself. It actually happens a lot in the sport.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's get into our game. You can only choose one option over the other and explain why.
Okay.
Would you rather run 2 miles in 150-degree weather or run 1 mile in negative 10-degree cold weather?
Oh, I'm going to take the 150-degree weather. You can break a muscle, pull a tendon in that freezing weather. There's no, there comes a point where you can't put on enough clothes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I also hate the cold. But I believe if I'm able to hydrate throughout this run constantly, I'm pretty sure I can make it through.
Yeah. Would you rather keep your title as the fastest man in the world or lose your fashion and music passion forever? Yeah.
I'll lose the Olympic medal.
Hold on.
That's just a chapter of my life.
It wasn't.
It leaves the title of world's fastest man.
Yes.
I have to get rid of the medal to get rid of that title.
That's a fact. Okay, I see where you're at.
Yeah. But track is just a chapter of my life. My creative skills are something that I want to be able to take with me for the rest of my life. That's dope. Track it, and at the end of the day, the world's fastest man can only stay relevant while he's the fastest man. Unless somebody changes that.
You got a point. I'm with you when you're right. So here we go. If you had a child, would you rather put them in track and field or allow them to be into music and fashion?
Music and fashion. Ain't enough money in track and field. You got to be the very best. You got to be at the very top to make a good living. And yeah, me and Janelle talk about this all the time. We ain't pushing our kids to track. They gotta beg us.
On your knees.
Well, you're gonna go right into tennis, golf, baseball. You go take on those sports first, and then soccer. Go take on those sports, and then come back to us and be like, "We want to run track." All right, we'll let you run track.
Yeah. Would you rather race against Brandon Marshall?
Okay.
Or me?
I'll take you both on.
But
come on.
Who would you say is faster?
Well, how fast are you?
Faster than Brandon Marshall.
Dang, you both look slow to me. It's basically the same thing. How much you want to pay to race me?
Now, can you catch though?
Yeah.
So if I give you, can you outrun my arm?
So you're saying you throw it, I start, and I have to catch it wherever it lands?
Or just, can you outrun my arm?
It depends how high you throw it.
Well, it has to.
Because you can throw a bullet and, I'm not.
There has to be some trajectory to get it going.
So it all depends on how much trajectory you give it to where I'll be able to catch it.
I'll run faster than B. Marsh for sure. Like he's heavy now.
Hey, I just saw him do hurdles. That was funny.
No, he hollow. He got that retirement body. I'm in peak shape right now.
Yeah, you tell him. What's your 40?
You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna worry about no 40. See, that's why I got the little chip in there.
All right, what was your 40?
Because I'm feeling myself, huh?
What was your 40?
4.5, 4.6.
I got a bet going on right now that Sha'Carri can beat somebody who's running 4.5.
No, she could definitely beat me. No, I ain't. But you? Nah, I ain't let you beat me. It'll be Nah.
Wait, what was that? What was?
It's that me jumping into another lane like, oh, this.
A high jump. How tall are you?
Do you hurdle though?
I used to.
That's cool.
How tall are you?
In my sport we tackle. So no matter how high you jump,
you gotta catch me first though.
It ain't about catching you. It's about being a sprinter. You gonna have to get tired. You ain't a marathon runner now.
Nah, but you gonna get tired before me.
No, I ain't.
Oh, no, you're not. I heard you just told me the story about the 400.
That's the old me. Did I tell you I'm in self-improvement? I'm working on myself. Working.
That's adorable. You keep believing in yourself. I love it.
Let's get ready for the question for the crew. This is an inclusive activity where we ask the people behind the scenes to get involved with the people that's in front of the camera.
Oh, I love it.
So they can either ask you a question or they can ask me a question. And, it's just a fun idea because, It was created because there's so many different times that I've done interviews with people, and it was like, bro, I wish you would have asked this. I was like, so now, when we have a question from the crew. Do we have any questions from the crew?
Yes. Noah, what's the slickest thing you've ever said to your opponent?
The slickest thing. When I was in high school, we used to run 4x4s. Sometimes my team wasn't in first. We were in second. We get on the line, and you're facing each other like this, and I tell the person in front of me, don't run too far. I don't feel like running very fast today.
But why
I was going to catch them regardless.
Why was you?
So it's all depending on if they want to really try it or not.
Why was y'all in that position?
That's just how it goes. It's just track culture. It's so crazy. There was a time I was at World Indoor Championships and I was on the 4x4, and it's very normal for somebody to put their hand on the back just so you have enough space to grab the baton and not have it getting knocked out of your hand by the person behind you.
Hold on, that was your team though, or
no. I was telling that to my opponent.
So when it goes, bah, do y'all talk?
This is a 4x4. Oh yeah, you have plenty of time to talk.
Yeah, but y'all talk like, oh, we got them. Like, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But come on, Pete.
Yeah.
Let's go, Ray. Kristen, you gotta get up. You gotta run. Oh, we got this one. Oh, yeah. It's
no, but if everybody knew, they were gonna get caught by me. I was one of the fastest kids in the country. I could name 2 people who were faster than me, and that was my brother and Michael Norman.
Well,
and that was just in the 400.
That was 3.
No, it's 2.
You missed one.
Don't make me
another question.
Don't make me assume now.
Another question for the crew, man. Who we got?
I got one. Ray Willis here. I'm curious, when you became fastest man in the world, like, did you feel yourself shift at all inwardly? Like the persona not you at home, that's chill.
No, yeah. It was a shift. When I got the title of World's Fastest Man, it wasn't so much a shift in me, it was more how people perceived me. When I did the first time at World Championships, the track world kind of was like, okay, world's fastest man. When I did at the Olympics, the world, including non-track fans, said, okay, we acknowledge this. And the funny thing was, I had gotten a call from a retired athlete, Asafa Powell. He's a former 100-meter world record holder. He runs for Jamaica.
Yeah.
We're friends. His son is a humongous Noah Lyles fan. And I'm like, what? It's like, he would love a video from you. He's about to go to the sports day. Like, could you do a video for him? I'm like, of course I'll do it because, you're my boy. But like, that's crazy. You're his dad, and Usain, you got Usain, and he's like, no, you're his favorite. And I have to remember, some kids aren't old enough to actually remember when Usain was running. So I, to them, am the fastest man in the world. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy.
I got one. I've asked so many. But
I got one for you, too.
For training purposes, right? I've always had this understanding that how is it that a person that doesn't have speed can teach somebody about speed?
That can be a little difficult at sometimes, because my coach, he did run, but he wasn't, obviously not as fast as any of the people he's coached. There is, of course, the basics of just training. You got to build a base first, so you got to be able to handle the endurance. Then you got to run fast. And as you're learning things, you're like, okay, I realize that if I want some of these athletes to do some things, I got to teach them through exercises, whether that's pulling sleds, jumping up hills, one-legged drills, all that stuff. And then eventually you start going to classes, biomechanics. Just the idea that if you run in a correct position and put your force at the right timing, and you'll run faster. And you gotta study this stuff. No, so you can't just run. I know tons of people who run and were great athletes that cannot teach other people how to run fast. And sometimes it's just innate talent. Some people were born to be coaches and teachers, and some people were born to do both.
But I be seeing some of these trainers that's out there. I'm like, bro, you're not fast, so how can you teach somebody else to be fast? But that's needless here to there.
Yeah.
You had a question?
All right. This is me being an extremely curious person. You were the first athlete that I ever saw that was probably painted in, I guess you could call it, to a lot of people, it was the villain like. Mm-hmm. But when I saw you, it was just confidence. It was just you being you. That time period for you guys going to the Super Bowl, even that whole season going through, what was your mindset like?
It's probably the best time of my life.
So far.
Yeah, one of the best times of my life. Personally, I was in a happy place. It was good. And, as an athlete, personally and professionally, when that match, like you're in a good space off the field, but then on the field, we went into, that's what makes it, like, sometimes you can be in a good place professionally and not get a place personally, or vice versa. But, yeah. And I often am asked with that question, what made the 2015 team so good? We were the best team.
Collectively.
Not talented, team. And as I go forward in life, I realize that that's important. You can be the most skilled editor, but if you don't get along,
You don't got an artist who's a performer,
bro.
What are you gonna edit?
You see what I'm saying? Like it's one of those things. So really mix and match in that, man, and the harmony. That's what it is. Yeah, I had a good balance in life at that point.
I want you to know that when I saw you that year, it was the first time that I was like, yeah, I don't gotta be ashamed of being confident. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you for that.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. I received that. And as we end things here, Funky Friday. When I say all together, we're going to say one love. When I say all together, we're going to say one love. When I say all together, we're going to say what?
One love.
Here we go. I'm going to give you an example. Are you coachable?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example. So we're going to start with this camera, then we're going to go to that camera, then we're going to finish with that camera. Starting with it with the one finger, then we're going to go one pinky, then we're going to go one thumb. And when I say all together, we're going to say what?
One love.
Here we go. You ready?
Let's go.
One finger, one pinky, one thumb. All together.
One love.
Ladies and gentlemen, Noah Lyles, No Joe 18.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, dog.